Oh man, it feels like I was just here a few hours ago. We are back from our second longest actually, competitive match of Siege of all time. My name is Keg. Hello, and we have a new caster here tonight. What Nude? We already know who you are. You're kind of new to the actual casting desk right now, but Seymour, hello.
Hey, what's going on?
Not too bad, not too bad. It's great to have you here. You know, you went through a long and arduous process in order to get into the SCS casting area. But we have two amazing teams here tonight. We have ourselves, I'm just going to call them Ren, because I am not much of a pronunciationologist. And we also have 303. Now, Wet Nude, we were talking a little bit before the games or before the pre show about what Renaissance can bring to the table. I'm really curious if you could continue on what you were saying about maybe what they can do to complete themselves tonight.
Yeah, something I noticed from watching back the VOD from when they played Emergence just last week was on defense, it felt like they gave up a lot of those early picks. Their big players like Jig just seemed to be dying really early. And then on the attack, they were throwing away man advantage. So, kind of what I gathered from it was they were really good at setting up for the execute. And then when execute time came down, it just seemed like everything would just go downhill. So maybe a little bit more intel in the beginning or towards that execute point, and then not giving up those early frags on defense. And I think Renaissance will probably be able to give up quite the fight, as they did take Emergence to OT on Clubhouse last week.
I would be scared to take Emergence to OT against any team after what we saw last night. Now, Seymour, I know you're a little new around these parts, but for reference, last night Redux Rising and Emergence went because there's infinite overtime in SCS, so we had 24 rounds, which I think the game started at 8 o'clock Eastern and went until 12:30 in the morning. So about 4 hours of Siege in a single matchup. We had the kill record broken by Goria. And it was just an overall slaughter fest going on. But Seymour, my question for you is that the first map tonight we're going to see is Consulate. It's a map that we see sometimes in Siege and sometimes we don't. But I want to hear your thoughts about Consulate as a map as a whole competitively. Very open-ended.
It's been a while since I've seen Consulate. I mean, like prior to the Invitational, because when I was going there, I was really kind of studying how the players were playing it, and I saw a lot of the time that it's more, I'd say, defensive heavy than it is attacker heavy in my opinion on it. And I really do enjoy seeing the teams and like lock down, like usually the second floor holds. I mean, I'm not like the most knowledgeable, that's why I stick to play-by-play for Rainbow Six, but as I get going, I'm looking forward to the second floor holds on defense mostly.
Well, we're gonna pound you with all that analysis going here in SCS here. We're gonna make sure you learn that this is gonna be our boot camp, Seymour. We got you with the boot camp. But map number 2 is gonna be Kafe, and we see that so much in this league, and I mean, just in general in Siege, we see it so much. What new? Do you think Kafe will be the make or break map for one of these teams, or are we gonna walk home with another 1-1 tonight?
I definitely think Kafe has become one of those very interesting maps, one of those defaults that we started to see a lot of teams really bring in. It's ever since the rework, it has been absolutely just a map that everyone loves to play because all three bomb sites and floors are viable, especially with that addition of library and dining, or reading and dining. Like all three bomb sites are just extremely playable, and it just allows for this change up. We've seen people change up how they run it, more shields. The addition of Omai has made Pixel just an absolute nightmare to clear. And we've even seen people start playing shields in freezer and bathroom. And it's just the amount of ability to just shape up this site and put on more cross angles, I think is why a lot of teams really like adapting to it.
Yeah, you're completely right. Now, Seymour, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts on Villa are. I'm not sure when you stopped kind of taking your tenure in casting Siege and switched over to Valorant, but first of all, welcome back. But
Thank
also,
you.
second, have you been around since the rework of Kafe?
If I'm knowing like the rework of Kafe, it's when they added the extra balcony on the third floor, right?
Yeah.
So now there's like there's hell right underneath the drop down.
Yeah.
So well, since I've noticed like the rework on Kafe, there's been a lot more noticeable like lurking. on sites that aren't third floor. So when it comes to it, and when I saw like the players in the rework, it's really important for the attackers to clear the roamers, to clear the lurkers out of the situations. And I'd say like you're attacking kitchen in the basement, so you're attacking reading room second floor, you know, you got to look for the players on the third floor. You have to clear out those new balconies, because that can really catch you off guard in the new rework.
Oh, look at that. He's already a better analyst than I am. But overall, I'm curious to see how this is going to go. I think our roster stats are ready as well. And when it comes to these two teams, oh, there it is. I love that transition. We have Renaissance. I don't think that's how you actually spell Renaissance. Renascence. Renascence. Oh, that is going to throw me off all night. But we see these teams already. The stats not quite as padded up as the ones we saw yesterday. But this just means these teams have a lot to prove tonight. Now, Wet Nude, what do you have to say about Renaissance? Yeah.
I think they have some very big players. Dunny on Clubhouse absolutely came out of the gate just shooting. And as we saw Jig kind of wake up, which I don't actually have his stats, but Jig did play last week. And he was that guy that I was saying was dying early on the defensive Clubhouse. But when he was starting to stay alive, become into that late game, he was really a big difference maker. But I mean, the biggest thing here is we're just going to need them to be a bit better today. I mean, no one above a 1.0 rating, and that is going to hurt a team. So the players just kind of going to need to step up together collectively. And if they can do that, I think they can give this matchup a really good shot.
Now, what I'm scared to see, and once we see these operators go away again, you're going to notice how Ren doesn't have any specific roles. They're all flex. In 303, we're going to have to wait for the transition to see if it's going to be any similar. No, they all have their own specific roles. But Seymour, we see two entries. We see the flex and the hard support, and the flank watch, of course, but it seems like they're a very aggressive team.
You know, that's what I was gonna point out, because I was looking at Ren and I'm like, you got a team full of flex players. That might cost you in the end. That might be something you're gonna like watch out for, because you got this team 303 dedicated to learning their individual roles, and those entry fraggers are going to be really important for a map like a Consulate, for a map like Kafe, because they're going to really depend on the tempo that you're playing at. And if this team likes to be aggressive, I think that they can find a lot of value on the attack with the way that 303 has the rules set up. I'm really looking forward to the entry fraggers and how they're going to and how Ren and all their flexers are going to stop the pace of 303.
I mean, entry fraggers when it comes to Consulate can either be like peanut butter and jelly or it can be like oil and water. So I'm curious to see how that's going to go down. But overall, we have just all flexes on Ren's team. I'm going to call them Ren because I'm not much of a pronunciationologist, but it seems like we're just about ready to get into the matchup. I'm curious about your predictions, Seymour, because you're brand new to all this. You're fresh, unsullied. Who do you think is going to come out on top?
I think it's gonna be. I got 303 right here. Just seeing the stats, seeing the way they're running. I want to take 303 on this one.
All right, and oh man, Wet Nude, I'm curious to hear what you got to say. Neither of you guys are actually on the stats sheets, but everyone is saying 303. Are you gonna hop on the 303 train, or are you gonna go over to Ren?
You know, I hate to be that guy, but I do really feel like 303's just kind of got this in the bag. When they played in control last week, they should have gone to match point, but Bone just made a couple of ridiculous clutch plays that kept them in it, and to win it in regular time. So I really feel like 303 was gunning last week, and I just felt like the way Ren played on that second map, it just felt like they lost steam quick. And if 303 can come in shooting on all cylinders, I think it's going to be really tough for Ren to bring this one.
Well, only one team can come out on top, and you know what? I don't have a prediction. I don't know who's going to come out on top here. I am just the ethereal spectator above everybody here. I'm the puppet master of this show, not Ferme behind the scenes. It's all me. It's all me. But with that being said, though, we're going to have two maps here tonight. It's going to be a best of two, infinite overtime, and I think we're just about ready to get started, but we're going to wait for that final confirmation. It's okay, you guys, if we do have any rehosts or anything, I will allow at least once for you guys to change your predictions, because you never know. But here we go. Good luck, casters.
Yeah, just going to jump right into Consulate here, and this should be quite an interesting matchup. I'll be interested to see if we do go to that top floor. Something I've really began to see is teams kind of shying away from it because of that hard window play that's just really hard to counter on that top floor bomb site.
Yeah, that's it's gonna be really interesting to see how they can counteract that. But right now in the banning phase, I'm curious from you, what Nude, what are you looking forward to? You already see the Thatcher out, but what are you predicting that they're gonna ban out here?
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw maybe a Nomad or a Capitao, as I feel like this become a really common ban as well for attackers. I could be horribly wrong, but it's actually going to be the Ace, which I think is very interesting. Going to maybe force a Thermite play to come back as Ace has been introduced. We've really kind of seen Thermite fall by the wayside as if like he's the lost and forgotten toy that no one wants to play with. Valk going to be pretty standard as that information on those cams that can be thrown outside are horrible to find and they give so much intel.
And that's interesting that you're talking about the Ace instead of, and now maybe forcing a Thermite instead of that. So like you're looking at these teams picking maybe Thermite to breach into garage. You're gonna have to get a lot more risky in getting close to the garage and breaking that open. Unless you're running a Hibana, maybe you want to take some cheeky angles with that one. But I do like the ban from Ace. I think it's really forcing some. It's forcing 303 to not play as aggressive as you might see them in some angles.
Yeah, and it's also going to take away the smokes, meaning that they might need to bring another operator now just to bring those smokes, as we haven't seen us get back into that smoke meta. I do want to say a Jaeger ban, though, is going to be quite interesting, and I am going to be curious of what Ren does when they go onto that attack, forcing out that Jaeger, because, I mean, that's going to bring smokes, grenades. Wamai's going to have to be played.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be very interesting to see what Ren does on their attacking side as they are going to start on the defense here.
Well, yeah, you already see. I mean, you got like Buck picked on the attack, so like the Wamai is gonna have to really plan out where he's going to put his utility because he's the only grenade CC that you have at the moment. I mean, you're looking at Wamai to really lock down and place his utility smartly because when you have the grenades and the smokes, like you're saying, that are really high in this meta lately, it's really leaving a lot open to the defenders, and they have to really be careful about not like stacking up on each other, not playing in like predictable grenade spots. You know, they really have to plan out where they're going now that Jaeger's not in here.
Yeah, not to mention, I believe it's only, I think he gets 7 charges total of his Wamai disc, which is just one more than the 3 ADSs give you. But you have to remember, they're like Legion goo mines. You get them over the entirety of the map, meaning you're not just going to get 6 of them right off the back, and that could lead to a possibility of early clearing shields, early clearing a lot of things. But we are going to see a top floor take here to begin. They're just going to clear from admin over, something you see a lot of teams do. But there is, in fact, one roamer on the top floor playing by that long desk, and that's going to be, I believe, Senpai on that Malusi. Vic just holding a passive angle, and it looks like the pinch is going to come out, and already Senpai is going to be taken out. Depending on the utility, that could be a C4 taken off the board.
Yeah, exactly. And that was just excellent clearing done by the side of 303. I mean, you even saw the pinch come out from Shiba and Vicacious. Shiba's still staying on the 3rd floor. The rest of them looking to drone out and clear all the lurkers. There's nobody on 1st floor, so they don't have to worry about that. You really see, look at the hold from the defenders. I mean, you got Nebula and Smithers playing inside garage. Doxy is just going to be watching with his smokes, waiting on forward for wherever he can block off any sites. I do like this play from the defenders, not having any more than Senpai lurking, but Senpai going down early, that gives up so much for 303 to just chokehold Ren down low.
Yeah, I would say having a singular roamer can be okay if the intention is to just cause a delay, maybe shoot a few drones, but a quick answer back, not necessarily a refrag, but there's 2 put on the board. They're taking the vertical angles and they're actually punishing these players, and that's Vicacious, the top-rated player for 303 taken down, along with the sledge. So those might be the grenades off the board if he hasn't already used both.
You do see Shiba still with all stuns inboard for the buck. You do see Track gonna take a stun to the face. Then flashed out, but the Nomad still taking an off angle down the stairs. You do see Shiba and Track just looking to try to pick off an angle. But look at this passive hold from the defenders. They're giving up the B site. They have the holes in the wall. They can see from any angle they want from cafeteria, from offices. It's just time for 303 to break in and fry some entry frags. Nice pick off from Track. He's actually going to find Nebula there. Almost taking down, though, by Nebula. Some nice trades. Track going to be low. Going to find the second one. Doxy going down. Loses their head. Double kill for 303. Breaking into the site. It's a 3-on-2. And if the diffuser goes down from Silver, this is going to be a hard retake from Smithers.
Yeah, I mean, Track was one of those guys that I talked about needed to step up, and a step up he did with a massive 2K, and now it's all on them to try and retake. They're going to try to come on the side of White Van, but they already seem to have an idea that that's where he is. Smithers worried about this vertical play, and rightfully he should, as someone is above. Jig's going to get tagged up, but not going to die just yet, and Track gets one on that yellow stairs. Jig's going to try and sneak it, but he's not going to get it. A beautiful 3v4 execute as Track just single-handedly brought that one back from yellow stairs. A great plant from Silver. Good post plant from the side of 303, and they take round number 1.
And that's where I really want to highlight Track there. I mean, you look at the difference in having dedicated entry fraggers and just flex rolls. I mean, the practice that Track has to know the corner he's peeking, know the angle to take, and to rip off through the wall 2 players, Nebula, and I think it was the Smoke Doxy, who is playing pretty passive. And it's just from Track getting a triple kill there. Like you said, single-handedly taking it on back. That's first round of 303. And we're going right back to Cafeteria and Garage. What do you want to see? What do you want to see the side of Ren change up this time?
It's going to be tough to say. I would like to see Nebula not obviously take the early death as Senpai, or not Nebula, excuse me, Senpai, as he did actually seem to have brought that C4, which could be massive for attempting to continue to get rid of some of these vertical players. We saw them kind of take an aggressive angle up through the vertical holes and get those picks. I'm just curious if the smoke had used all 3 smoke canisters, because if he just peeked out and died just trying to get a refrag when he still had canisters left, that might have changed the round up dramatically, causing just a last-minute flurry. It does look like some more hatches are going to get opened here, and I think either a dual roam or no roam needs to come out from the side of Ren, and they need to just maybe try to not give up that all of Garage. That turtle play is okay, but the retake on Garage is so tough to bring back.
Especially after you have that vertical hold when diffuser's down. I mean, I think it was Shiba holding first floor, looking on down on that diffuser. It's almost impossible to rip him off unless you do have that confidence in taking the fight. But you do see Vacacious once again heading right back to where they were last round. This is where they had the pinch set up to take out the defender. I don't exactly know who that does look like the Legion, a Jig this time roaming around. If I could catch that player model out through the wall, but Shiba setting up for the pinch as well. This might be another roam clear from 303 with that. They just look so practiced in this.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is they're having to waste a little bit of that extra time, and, you know, you're seeing it. I feel like once they cleared out that Malusi extremely early, they kind of had an idea that maybe the rest of top floor is clear, because it looked like they started their execute onto the first floor really fast. With that being said, though, a lot more time, in my opinion, I think is getting wasted, and you still see some players here not exactly all the way back, but he does get called out in Silver on the hold from behind, and she was going to add on to it with a second onto Senpai, a second round of not being able to use his utility or really even his gun, as every member from 303 is still completely full health.
It's a brilliant follow-up from the Buck. Only 3 left on the defending side. Renaissance now looking to just hold down and turtle in like they were doing last round, but this time it's going to be way more difficult. You see the setup from Vacacious and Shiba just holding down those vertical angles from above. You do see the lifeline of Vacacious going to stun on through. Nebula going down to Track. That's 3 players down, only 2 left. Doxy and Smithers. Monty. All right. Smithers gonna have to hold back in Garage, look for an opening pick, but Doxy, I don't know if he has all 3 canisters left, but look at Track. That is just some excellent play on the staircases. Looks like he'd do this all day. Smithers gonna get the refrag. 1-on-4, looking for that ace clutch. Smithers gonna rotate around, catch off the player inside. Spiral gonna look back, looking to catch off the follow-up. But I do love this play from Smithers to give it up. He does have his Evil Eye still on the site, but now that it's planted, now that the fuser's down, this looks like it's going to be another round from 303 because I can't see Smithers breaking this.
Yeah, I mean, beautiful to be able to find that Nomad Jammer. He's going to give himself an opportunity, and he's going to take the head off Vacacious. This isn't over just yet. He's got an opportunity to pinch down onto Sheba, but Sheba's going to walk through that Malusi, and he's actually going to push deeper into sight. At this point, with time running down so low, I think it is unfortunately going to be too late. A beautiful attempt from Smithers, hitting some absolutely insane shots. But as I said, Sheba's pushed deep. There's no more time to get the defuse, and Sheba just going to add to the kill tally. Another beautiful, beautiful round from the side of 303. Just getting in, getting that plant down, getting the control they need. And this time just doing it even a bit better. Track, I mean, the shot through the wall onto the smoke that he assumes is playing correctly right by that bomb chassis. I mean, Track has just been opening these rounds wide open and giving pretty much 303 everything they've needed.
I don't like this pick from the mirror from Dux. I mean, you have the smoke there, but I feel like he's just not finding the values that he needs to out of the smoke. I mean, you're gonna pick the mirror now, but I think that's gonna force him to play an even more passive angle. I mean, maybe you'll be able to set up the Maestro on his LMG on an aggressive angle, but now you're giving up your canisters in the force to almost work off of the mirror windows and keep the pressure on the front line. But once, like, let's say 303 get rid of those windows. I mean, it's not that hard to play around a mirror in my opinion. I don't like the swap off of the smoke. I think the smoke is almost crucial to holding on Garage.
Well, so we have switched to this Archives first floor and basement bomb site, which has become extremely popular on Consulate, and that's why you're probably seeing that switch to the mirrors. They want those extra C4s. We see 4 on the side of Ren. We're going to have to see if they can be a bit more effective. I mean, we did see 2 C4s, I believe, in their variation that they were running on Garage, and neither one being able to net any kills themselves. So with the Pulse, though, that extra information, that is or should lead to a much more accurate C4 throw, but going to see where they attempt to take from the side of 303. And it looks like we're just going to keep seeing this admin. This is almost Empire-esque Consulate takes we've seen, where it's just, we're going to go from admin. We don't care the bomb site is. It's admin first, move over from there. And I mean, they have been just absolutely perfect so far on their roam clear, and it's going to be interesting to see how they take the split bomb site.
It is interesting, and then you do see them just going for the clear once again, but this time it doesn't seem like they're dedicating themselves to the clear right away. They're playing it a lot more slower, so I like this change in tempo from 303. They're just being way more cautious this time in breaking in because it works successfully both prior rounds. You expect Ren to kind of change something up this time along with the site hold. You do see BZ is going to hold top floor. Just wait on. Try to take these vertical angles this time. Set up Vacacious and Shiba once again. We've been deadly from above. Raining down from the sky. I don't necessarily see and recognize the hold from the defenders right now. It does seem like a lot of them have returned to the basement and given up first floor, but I'm curious to see where they're all sitting.
Yeah, they're probably all going to be sitting right underneath in that second in the basement because they're getting ready for that pulse to start feeding that information of the plants going down, C4, and just going for those kills. It's something we've seen a lot on this bomb site where, unfortunately, the first person to plant is almost always going to die. He's going to eat a C4, and that's kind of what we're going to see here. Without the ADS, though, you're seeing the ability for Vacacious to kind of just go in, use his utility quickly, get these evil eyes out, and that extra bit of information that you brought the Maestro for is now going to be washed. But with 48 seconds, the push is getting ready to come, and Vic is going to go down first, but Sheba gets a refrag, and the push has got to come down now.
Excellent refrag, though. to keep it even. Shiba taking out Dogs. That's going to be the mirror out of play. Trank, just working magic track all over again. It actually spots out the player in Spiral. I do not know what Smithers thought he was doing there, but he just gets caught out with his pants down, laying down, trying to take out some of the utility. Nebula and Jig both low. Silver going to find Jig. It only leaves one left. Diffuser's planted, and suddenly all those C4s finding not as much as you thought you would from that basement hole. Now Nebula all alone going to rotate on through Spiral. Gonna try to pick up where Smithers left off. All of a sudden, he does get found Shiba. Shiba, a nice double kill in that round. 303 gonna go up 3-0, and honestly, they are just taking hold of this game.
Yeah, this is honestly not looking too hot for Ren right now. Now, there's an ability to bounce back. You're only 3-0 down. By no means is the door closed on you. We saw Nip earlier in the majors, if any of you watched, almost bring it back from 6-1 down on Oregon. But these aren't really close rounds either. And that's what scares me right now on this, if you're a Ren fan, is these aren't coming down to the wire to 1v1s. I mean, Smithers had a really good attempt at clutching on round number 2, but even his didn't come down that close. It was still a 2v1. The diffuser was planted, and time was already gone for him. So if you're Ren, you want to start seeing some of these defensive rounds either come closer in your favor, or, I mean, you're just going to eventually, the morale's going to start going down for you. The Jaeger pick doesn't seem to really be throwing off 303 at all, but maybe it will a bit more on the defensive side. But it just doesn't feel like what Ren is bringing right now is even remotely slowing down 303.
I'm curious to see if Senpai is going to go roam again. It does look like he's setting up for that and going to go to the 3rd floor. And maybe he's going to be able to avoid the drone clears with this vigil, but they haven't found any success in roaming yet. Now you have triple roam up top with the Maestro and the Legion joining you. If you're going to dedicate 3 players up here, Wet Nude, you're going to have to see some value come out of it, because Shiba and Vacacious have been so good at clearing it that I have to see something change up for Renaissance and find some early value here.
Yeah, I 100% couldn't agree more. I believe the Maestro is just going up to open a hatch. It's kind of hard to tell. It looks like he did rotate back down, and I believe it's going to be Jig and Senpai that are going to be hanging out up here. They have the impact, so it makes sense. They can make their own rotates, their own get out of jail freeze, but Senpai is going to eat a lot of damage, but not without almost trading it back. But in the ensuing flames, Senpai does go down. Silver is one shot, and they're going to be able to kind of just walk in and collect this, but obviously Vic not going to be kill hungry, as Nebula is sitting at that top yellow. Obviously, they're going to know Senpai is down, as since he is indeed injured, he can't just go ahead and cloak himself.
So now you actually have to be careful too, because look at Silver, very, very low. So it's risk to get traded. PZ going to use the sledgehammer, take out Senpai. Not even bothering to use any of the ammo. And they're going to rotate on forward. They've cleared the roam. I think Jig actually ran away, and he's actually returned to his team now. There is somebody on the 1st floor. Track. Going to be close to this. Players playing close in bathroom. Silver might be actually caught off by this. I don't know if they've cleared out bathrooms yet, but now you do see the drone track. He's going to look for Jig here, and I'm pretty sure Jig does get away.
Yeah, but you know, Jig gets away, but once again, Doxg is just going to go down early, and that is the C4 off the board. It just feels like none of these operators are getting any opportunity to use their utility before they're already taken off the board. Track is going to take quite a bit of health right there. And oh no, and on the way to what looks like to maybe air jab off Spiral, Nebula is waning and going to find the easy pick. And that's actually huge, as Track has been that guy that's been pushing down yellow and opening up these rounds on yellow stairs. And as we can see, Nebula is going to try to go for a cheeky flank, but someone is over here, but it doesn't look like they have the flank drones to give them that information.
Yeah, Nebula actually might be able to catch a few players off with this flank. You do see the full rotate, not wasting any time. I don't know if they're even aware of this. Like you said, I don't know if the drone's left to clear the flank. Nebula gonna find Shiba. Nebula actually gonna find a second one, a triple kill. He's bringing it into his own hands now, 3v2. He's going to be Smithers, Jig, and Nebula. Silver going to be dropping the diffuser. PZ going to be looking over him with that sledge. Actually going to be playing on the outside. You do see him in staircase. Going to rotate on down. Not find any kills. They're 303. Silver going to trade it out. Nebula does have the 4K right now. Looking for the A's. Smithers and Nebula. Silver bomb down less than 10 or 25% health. I'd say he's got 10 health just left in his field. Smithers going to be aware the player might be there. Silver going to find one. Silver going to find two. Clutches up with less than 10 health. 303. Going to clutch up and deny Nebula of the ace.
Yeah, I mean, what a play from Silver. And like you said, he was one bullet, one shot. You just needed one little bullet to land, maybe even an impact. If you just impacted that breach, you might have gotten him. But it's not to be, and that is the closest we have seen Ren get. But that's good. Although it's a loss, Ren are starting to prove that they can make plays happen against 303. This isn't just a one-sided beating. They lose the round, but maybe a bit of that confidence comes back that, all right, guys, that round we just screwed up. I mean, an absolute clutch from Silver, a player that I was looking forward to seeing as he had a few of those in last week's game. And man, he shows up big. Vic actually extremely quiet right now. He is the top rated player from this team, but currently just struggling to find his stride as he just gets caught off guard and killed from behind. Silver yet to take a death. I mean, that's pretty impressive as hard support when you think about your job is normally to plant the bomb and go ahead and eat the first C4 and let someone else take the glory of the plant down. But Silver managing to stay alive through all 4 rounds.
Yeah, especially with what I'd say 5.
One shot.
Yeah. 5 health last round. He definitely was riding the edge. All adrenaline in the veins for Silver last round in track. He's been picking up the pace too with the kills for the side of 303. I mean, you say Vacacious. I mean, every single time you see him just setting up for proper positioning on that lifeline, using the utility to the fullest, letting the players around him shine. So might not be the top rated player right now on Consulate, but definitely showing the support with the Zofia. Back on the attack, it does look like Shiba is going to be setting up for this clear once again. 3-3, just basic attacks. They're finding their pace. They're finding their rhythm in this round. And Ren, they got close to breaking it last round with Nebula getting that late roam. But honestly, 3-3, they're just riding the wave right now.
Yeah, I wanted to comment. You are 100% correct. Although Vacacious is not on the score sheet for his fragging ability, he is using all of his utility correctly, which is something I noticed from last week's game against In Control, is that this team just really uses their utility smartly, whether it was the Capital on Oregon or even just right now Vacacious with his lifelines. Silver was one shot, and I have to assume that either Vic or PZ got those evil eyes out of the picture before they went down, and those evil eyes could have won the round. But if they're already taken off the board because your entries or the people that are supposed to get rid of that utility is still getting it done before death, they're still effectively helping win those rounds off of that utility alone. With that being said, we are seeing this top floor clear once again. They're not going to have any contention. And 5 rounds in, and we've yet to see any other floor besides basement being held, which I think at some point, why not give lobby the old college try, right? If you don't like the top floor because of the windows, there's still lobby, but they're just foregoing any other site but the basements. And I think that's honestly hurting them and maybe showing a very poor adaptability, or even just strats for other sites, maybe even confidence.
Yeah, I mean, adaptability is really the lacking ability that you do see on Ren right now. I mean, you do see a little bit of late adapting last round from Nebula, but it just wasn't enough. And maybe Nebula's starting to change up that mindset, but the other 4 is starting to lag behind. And you said it a couple rounds ago, Doc's just going down early every round, and so say it. Doc's already dropped and injured. Gonna get picked up by a teammate, but that is just, it's not something you like to see right now if you're a Ren fan. And you have to start seeing the rest of the team show up right now, because the Consulate show right now is directed and run by 303 at the moment. Track gonna find an opening, kill into Nebula, and if you're Ren at the moment in this round, you are sweating.
Yeah, and PZ's gonna add on to it. Plant comes down. Track managed to find one before being traded off. Dox is we thought was gonna die at first, ends up being last alive, ends up finding a frag, but it is for naught as Silver has been able to get the plant down yet again. I believe that is 4 for 4 or 5 for 5, I believe. I think the only round he might not have might have been that that Teller's archives hold, but I mean, how many times are you going to try it, guys? This will be 4 or 5 of your 6 defensive rounds on this attempt at cafeteria. Try something else. It's not working.
I mean, the only thing that I see switching up in the mindset of Ren right now is their operator picks. I mean, you see Senpai, he's just not confident in what to grab. I mean, earlier he was playing the Malusi. You saw him swap to the Vigil at one point. Now he's on the Mozzie. Malusi over to Nebula. Nebula's been finding a little bit of pace on this operator pick, but just the rest of the team, it's like they're running their heads at a brick wall, which is cafeteria and garage, and they're just not breaking on through from the attackers. Track and Shiva, along with Silver, just doing a great job at breaking through this Ren defense at the moment. And I agree with you. I want to see some different sites being held by this team, but maybe you're right, and they're just not confident in the second floor because of the windows. Maybe like not many people want to hold first floor to begin with, but I mean basement, it's not looking pretty for them, and they might find surprise picks onto the other ones. They're just not giving it the chance.
Yeah, and I mean, the big issue we're seeing here, right, is if you just look at the amount of flashbangs they have, regardless if you brought the Wamai or not, you don't have enough discs to even just make it through the flashbang. So no matter what, Vic and PZ are going to have free roam to do what they want with those lifelines and grenades. But on top of that, banning the Jaeger just means that they can be even more free with them. And I think the Jaeger ban is really not showing to have any true effect. I don't know if it was a target ban, something they saw, but as of right now, this seems like a horrible waste of a ban. But once again, this could be all based off what they want to do on attack. With that being said, we're seeing the Mute Mozzie combo coming out here, and it looks like it's actually really halting this drone economy and ability of 303, and maybe that's going to slow them down long enough to get them in a position where they have to funnel doorways, which arguably could allow the possibility of Ren being able to just get lucky frags and punish people as they're stuck pushing right into a door. With that being said, the roam clear is still going off somewhat well. I think they've only lost one drone from Amazi, which all things considered is definitely the best possible outcome you can have at this current moment. Oh no, but they haven't droned out the middle floor, but I think Nebula has given himself up too early. I think there was an opportunity for a free pick, and Track's going to be able to find the opener onto Nebula.
I mean, that's just a dangerous gunfight to pick. Track just been on top of it, and like you said, Nebula giving up the positioning, not droning him out. That could have been dangerous for 303, but it's a tiny mistake and a slip up for Nebula. And now the go time, the green light is set for 303. They got a minute 15 to attack this site. You do see them setting up for that vertical aggression. You see Silver trying to take those off angles. Does have the diffuser in hand. Senpai gonna finally find a pick with those C4s. That's the first one I saw from Ren for the amount of times that they've been running those C4s. But now they're gonna make it even in a 4-on-4 with 50 seconds left. What move?
Yeah, finally some impact from that utility. Finds a kill, and Smithers, playing aggressively on these vertical holes, is also going to be able to net one himself, and that's going to be Shiba taken off. But Track, just doing Track things, is going to be able to find the Mozzie on the back side. But that's not necessarily bad. C4 already gone. You just lose the gun. Vic can still hold the vertical angles, and now we should probably start to begin to see the plant. Dox is alive, though, and he does have those smokes that he can start burning, but he's burning the wrong spot.
In the wrong spot, indeed. And this is almost deja vu from round one. This is almost deja vu to round one. You saw the early picks for Ren and Track popping off in the late game. Jay gonna find that trade onto Track, so they're gonna make it a 2v2, but Dox is down and injured, and the diffuser is planted. They're not gonna confirm the kill just yet onto Dox. They're gonna take their post-plant positions, and Vicacious Silver just waiting on those defenders to touch the diffuser. Jig is in a tough situation because both of them are just playing those off angles outside of garage and just waiting on their time. 21 seconds. He's going to go for the revive. And yeah, they actually might be able to take a split push on this. If one takes the stairs, one takes the garage. It's what they're going to do. They might be able to take on both attackers at once, but they're both going to go for the diffuser. You see the run out. Vacation's going to find Dogs. Vacation's going to clutch up with both. And the slow start to it, it's going to pick up in round 6 where Vacacious finds that double kill to close on off.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue there was just the fact of they thought someone was on yellow, but no one was. Both players were outside of the map. And the only thing that Jig got there was the fact that, well, he can say he gave Silver his first death of the game, as his little run out there is going to catch Silver off guard, and that is going to be his first death. But what a start from 303. I believe 6 for 6 with plants. They're 6-0 right now on the attacking side on Consulate, which although is not, I don't think, as defender sided as it used to be, is still, I think, still somewhat in the defender's favor. And to go 6-0 on attack, I mean, if you're Ren, mentally, you might be in a very bad place.
Mentally, you might just be boomed out of existence at the moment. 6-0, moving over to the attack. I mean, if you're right, and this Jaeger ban for them was intended for their attack, maybe they're about to pull out the greatest retake, the greatest switch on this game at all, and send us to an OT from an 06 standpoint. But you see Shiba pulling out the Oryx. What do you think about that? It's not often you see an Oryx come out.
Yeah, I very intrigued. I feel like he's gonna try some pretty shady stuff. Maybe even a late jump up hatch from Archives, and then from Archives into admin, and maybe go for a flank in that matter. It would be super interesting, but Oryx has not really found his play yet, I think, in any map. But this would be an interesting one. The amount of hatches there are on this map, I think, is by far way more than any other map. So Oryx being able to jump up, get into those hatches, maybe get off some cheeky flanks and get around those air jabs would be pretty interesting. But as something I stated earlier, Renascence picked Garage 5 of their 6 defender rounds. And as you can see by the scoreline, they didn't win any of them. 0% win rate.
Not a single one. And honestly, I like Shiba picking on this Oryx, like you're saying, with all of those hatches. They find an opening pick onto Docs, PZ with that roam. He might be able to pick up where Nebula was trying to find success last time and get those late flanks, get those late roams, but he's actually going to be playing the top floor with this. In a 4-on-5 standpoint, they haven't even touched in the inside of the building. And you do see an advantageous position for 303. PZ taking a little bit of damage, but not enough to make him worried. He's going to rotate off. He still has the C4. Smith is going to confirm the kill. Senpai going down to Vacacious. A nice trade to keep them at a 1-player advantage. Vacacious a little bit tagged up, but he is feeling pretty good right now. Silver going to be waiting on site as this Mira. The rest of them just playing around that.
Yeah, I have to say, I mean, this is just... I don't get why you would ignore that top floor, especially if you have the idea that there are roamers. This was just not a very smart play, but as if I remember correctly, I think I saw part of triple wall down there was left soft, and it looks like they're just going to go and hope to try and buck that open and go for something. But I mean, there's still roamers all over. They can collapse, and this is the kind of retake that might work out. We are going to see, however, the plant goes in and they're trying to stick it, and it's going down. A track is going to be able to find it, but Jig is going to be able to get the refrag, and it's now all down to a 2v3, let alone a 3v1, as the vertical play is going to shut down Jig, and it's all left to Smithers playing on the outside. He's going to try and shoot the heads as they run across the hole, but with someone holding vertical angles above, no matter where he pushes in, he is a dead man walking. The Mira just looking at him, giving the intel, letting them know he's still outside. 20 seconds left. Just go in and meet your maker, and there it is, a 7-0 on the side of 303.
That was as one-sided as you can ask for. Consulate being the literal jungle gym for 303. They looked like they were having a blast. Ren, not as much. You know, it looked a little bit out of their playing field, and it really shows you where it comes down to. In the stat board earlier, you saw 5 flex players on Ren, individual plays from the side of 303, and it really came out the way that they were clearing the top floor every single round. It just looked a lot more practice from 303.
Yeah, that was a rough time that we just saw. That was whew, complete destruction pretty much going on. Seymour, Wet New, that was quite the map right there. I mean, when it gets to the point, if at first you don't succeed, just go it 5 more times. I'm sure it'll work at some point. And then what did 303 do? They won Garage on their very first attempt. That's exactly what happens, and I think that describes the last 30 minutes of our lives pretty much to a T. I think we'll be going to the analyst segment pretty quickly here. Nude, Seymour, you guys were amazing together, like peanut butter and jelly, like Zelda and other Zelda. And we'll be seeing you guys for map number 2. Or... oh, we're not ready for the analyst. That's all right. We'll have to wait for the prognosis, but that's okay. We'll get our other prognosis specialist here. Seymour, man. It's her first time casting for SCS. I'm curious to know. Were you expecting to see a 7-0 tonight?
I was not. You know, I mean, you guys were talking about a 24-round game from Ren yesterday. I mean, maybe they're just out of gas today. Maybe they're just absolutely just out of any fuel to push this 303 team to the limit. But I mean, he literally made a great statement when they were attacking Ren. They didn't clear third floor roams at all. When every single round, there wasn't a single round that 303 didn't clear roam on third floor, and you really see the difference in how hard it was to enter into the building.
That whole map was just difficult for Ren's side, and I mean, just go for another bomb site. It's not that hard. There's so many on that map, and yeah, we didn't see a single one other than maybe split once. But you know what? That's okay, because I'm sure that was a really great scrim opportunity for them. Wet Nude, I can see your face is full of pain right now. I mean, you got the prediction right, but I'm curious to know, what was your overall thoughts?
I have to wonder, you know, there's this saying, don't run your head into a wall over and over again. And I have to wonder if Ren got a little bit of brain damage and just couldn't maybe think of another site. I mean, we saw them go to archives, but we saw 1 C4 kill in 6 basement holds. That's unreal. That's a complete waste of utility of C4s. That is mind blowing. And then you go to the fact that they just ignored the top floor hold. They got 0 map control and then just went for a Hail Mary on an obvious bait on leaving that triple wall soft, and you just saw Vic just pretty much right through the sawmill as they tried to go through, and Vic's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna hold these vertical holes, man. I don't know what your plan was.
Fair enough. Now, speaking of Hail Marys, let's Hail Mary this way over to the analyst desk and see what's going on there. Seymour, Wet Nude, we'll see you guys in a bit. Hello, analysts. Oh, it looks like one's out of commission. He was killed in action during the 24 round yesterday. So it's gonna be myself and Santos, mostly just use Sand because I am not an analyst. But hello, Santos. How are you today?
Hey, Keg. I'm doing pretty well. Had a little bit of an internet scare, but I'm here. I'm good to go. First time me and you were on a desk together. This is amazing.
Yes.
What an opportunity. And let me tell you, it was a missed opportunity from Ren, to say the least, out of that map.
I mean, in the while the game was going on, we were talking a little bit, and we were trying to figure out what rounds we wanted to analyze and see. And honestly, every round was pretty much the same. We could give you the skinny about the micro differences of each one, but would we really be doing you guys a service? No, it's the same thing over and over again. Honestly, Toast, the most important difference I saw from Ren's side was bring out an Oryx.
I mean, it didn't make that big of a difference anyway. I mean, to watch a 7-0 like that and to play the same defense, I think it was like 5 out of the 6 defensive rounds that they had. That was just an ugly thing to see. And to bring up a quote, Insanity is doing Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. And I I have to admit that it is exactly what we saw from Renascence there. Yeah, just trying to bash your head through a wall, trying to make that garage bomb site work was definitely not the move. I feel like moving to a different site would have benefited them and given us more to analyze for sure.
Man, we are just harping on Ren so much tonight. I mean, it's only map number 1 too. I want to focus on something a little bit more positive. We had 303, I think it was Silver, on that Hibana pick. 2 of the rounds especially on that garage hold. The post-plant situation. The timer is ticking down, right? And they just hold that angle. It doesn't matter if it's a 2v1, a 1v1, or even like a 3 or 4v1. Silver held that angle on the far left side of the garage, able to hold it down, waiting to see anyone that peeks on by. And it was only that very last defense round from Ren's side where they actually take down Silver, but then Jake immediately gets refragged. So it doesn't quite work out that way, but at least they were adapting a little bit. But by that time, it was way, way too late.
I think it was just way too late at that point, like you said, and also, you know, just yay, we finally got the kill onto Silver. We're still going down 6-0, but you know, props to 303 for what they were able to do. They were playing a really good fundamental siege, I must say, from their side. Just a lot of what happens on Consulate is you need to be able to clear the top floor, work your way down, and we saw that pretty consistently. Well, I wanted to say pretty consistently, but absolutely consistently. Every single round was just fundamental Consulate play. Just take the top floor, work your way down, establish the vertical pressure, and we saw Renascence getting picked off by that pretty much every single defense that they had down there. So
Yeah,
man.
no, I think that's really important to distinguish is that none of the players on Ren played objectively terribly at all. I think there was a fundamental lack of maybe communication on the team, but also just switch to another bomb site. It's not that hard.
I mean, yeah, switch to another bomb site, but then we saw the Renascence attack. They had one singular attack, and the difference between what was happening between 303 and Renascence was, you know, Renascence. I think they forfeited the top floor and didn't really give any sort of pressure up there, and again, going back to the fundamentals of Siege, you want to dial down the position of every single other operator if you can, and they had no clue where any of the defense was established, as that last round showed.
Yeah, I do think a lot of the issues for Ren's side does fall on those hard supports on the site. All your intel operators, like right now on the screen, you see it yourself too. You see Jig on the cardiac sensor, on pulse. Where's the information? The information's not there. They all have heartbeats on the attacker side. Just find the hearts and shoot them. We only saw one C4 kill from Ren's side. And sure, that's fantastic, but you could have done that every single round.
I mean, that's the disturbing part about this, right? You see Jig able to give yourself that vertical knowledge. You see Mira gives you one-way knowledge with those mirror windows, and then you have those indestructible bubble cams from the Maestro as well. Add on to the fact that you have the Malusi on the board as well, and
Yeah,
you
you
know,
should win all the games if you have Malusi.
right? You have all the information you need in the world. Like this was weird to watch, to be honest here, right? Like
Yeah, I mean, all the cards are in the favor of Ren that matchup, and at least operator-wise, you would think it is, but on such a usually more or less defender-sided map, that should have been Ren's game, but no, it was just attack, attack, attack. But really, when it comes down to it, I think the big difference we need to see between Ren now in the next map is just go to another damn bomb site.
I mean, that's a big one, but also
That's a
303
big
was
one.
able.
That's the
Well, I
huge
mean,
one.
this is the biggest one, right? But the another difference maker, 303, able to get the bomb down every single round. Like, how do you deal with that if you're the side of Renascence? You obviously are playing for retake, so we're expecting a little bit more polished of a retake. Maybe, you know, take one of the rounds away, but what, you know, they went down 7-0. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, when you go down 7-0, that's not something you want to see in competitive Siege at all. I mean, you know, it happens at all levels. We saw Rogue, it happened to. Actually, they went 0-9 for so many different games. But overall, there's a fundamental issue, and I don't know whether it was whoever or whatever, But it looks like we are just about to be ready to go into the next matchup. But Santos, you are fantastic as an analyst. And I hope to work with you more in the future. But we're going to hand back over to our casters and see if we're going to have another 7-0 or if it's going to be maybe something better than a 7-0. Hello, everybody. Hello, Wet Nude. Hello, Seymour Skinner. Welcome back, guys. We are done ranting out the 7-0, and it's a blank slate, hopefully, for Kafe.
Yeah, I mean, you said hopefully we get something better than a 7-0. Maybe like 7-1, maybe like 7-1, 7-2. Like anything might be a little bit better than that one. And I mean, Kafe. I mean, if it was one-sided on Consulate, maybe they're gonna go to a different bomb site on Kafe.
Ooh.
Maybe we might see a little bit more of a show for Renascence.
I hope so, because they were asleep at the wheel and they just crashed into a wall a few times. But Wet Nude, do you have any special predictions for Renaissance going into this next matchup?
I mean, it's a tough one. Obviously, we don't want to drag out the 7-0 because you don't want to sound like one-sided, but that was just really bad showing. Maybe they're hiding strats. I don't know. Maybe Consulate's their playoff map. We don't know. But
I mean, you could have banned it. Could have gotten rid of the map.
I'm not sure there, but I think they're going for their own mentality, going to come out and try and swing a little bit harder this game. You definitely don't want to seem like the laughing stock in a league. Kind of rogues in that boat right now. If you look at, we were just talking about EUL. I mean, going from number 1 in stage 1 to the bottom in stage 2. I mean, so I think Ren's going to come out. Maybe I don't know their thought process for map number 1, but I think in map number 2 they might come out swinging a bit harder.
I'm not in their comms. I'm not a player on Ren's team, but I do think that there was a bit of a confidence issue in that first map. And I hope they can fix it so much in the Kafe. If you can't play Kafe, if you get 7-0 in Kafe, there is something fundamentally wrong with how you play Rainbow Six. But I think we're just about ready to get into the next matchup. I'm going to get some confirmation on that. And while we're waiting to hear from the aliens above, seeing if we are ready, either that or they'll just whisk me away. Oh, I've been whisked away, but to a different screen. It's giving me the statistics instead. We do see all the fantastic numbers that the number crunchers back behind the scenes were crunching away that whole time, and you're gonna see a big difference.
Yeah, it's really nice just looking at the statistics side of things, just because it's always interesting to see how your favorite team and players are doing. I mean, we see some of the big name players, some of those high ratings. I mean, we saw Goria on 71 kills, which I think literally 30 plus higher than most of everyone else. But we're seeing Lycus right there, who actually has really nice rating. And it looks like we are going to switch over to the game as of now. So, Seymour, welcome back. We are going to Kafe. What is your prediction that we see more than 2 bomb sites from Renascence?
I think that prediction is going to be pretty heavy from here. I mean, Kafe, it's like if you're gonna play it like Consulate and go to kitchen every single time on Kafe, you're not playing this map right, like you were saying. But I definitely can't predict that. I don't think that Renascence is gonna go to the same bomb site 5 rounds in a row and lose every single one of them. They have to show me a little bit more there. I'm waving a little bit of a Ren flag right now. I want to see them shine right now. We see a Thatcher go out right away on this ban once again, just like last map. I'm curious to see if they repeat with the ace. I wonder what they're going to be because bring in here. They're going to bring the Capitao. I actually like that pick because, you know, there's a lot of zoning denial that you can have on Kafe from the Capitao. So I like that ban from them.
Yeah. So it's one of the reasons why I thought maybe it was going to get banned out in the last game is because of those fire bolts and those smoke bolts are very good for covering the plant and cutting off rotates to get to the planter. With that being said, 303 is going to be the one to ban Mira off the board on this one. Pretty standard ban you'll see on Kafe or really on any map. Even maps Mira's not strong on, you'll see Mira bite the dust. So for those of you that don't know, Echo is auto banned, which is why even though he was technically on board to be played last game, he was not. They're still trying to work out the kinks with his yokai drones. And a Valk ban is going to be the last one. Once again, that intel that you can get from outside the building with those cameras can be a bit annoying And banning Valk means you don't need to run an IQ and you can forego that operator in your lineup. With that being said, pretty standard bans, and we are going to start on the top floor. Once again, it looks like Ren is going to be on the defensive side, and I'm hoping their heads are clear and they understand that you can't just run your head into that wall 5 times in a row. I hope.
They say there's a lot that makes up a team, but what mostly stands out in a really good team in league plays is the way they can bounce back. With the team that you get knocked down, you get 7-0, and then the next round you're playing your own game. You make sure that you can wipe your memory of all past games, and you can just play your own game going on. I'm really looking to see if Renascence could just forget about that map 1, forget about Consulate. It's time for Kafe now. It's a whole new map, a whole new round set, 0-0 right now. You gotta forget about that 7-0. You gotta bring it back here. I do like the setup though. They got the Womai and the Jaeger playing around each other right now. It looks like they're gonna set up the barricade for a little bit of a pixel hold inside of Christmas Room. And it does, and I do like that setup from this. I know it's a very strong setup to hold, and the bathroom's in that corner. So I'm curious to see if 303 will be able to break through on that one.
Yeah, and I mean, doubling up on that Wamai and Jaeger is something we talked about. Wamai is actually a very typical ban here on Kafe, but they're going to forego that for obviously the Valk and the Mira, meaning that the double catch from Wamai and Jaeger is going to be there, meaning they're just going to have to be a bit smarter with their utility. And obviously, that's going to mean big players like Ash or Zoe dying early are going to be huge. But unfortunately, going to start off with someone disconnecting, it looks like they're going to forego the rehost and just try to finish out this round. But that's still going to be tough, as I don't quite remember what operator was being brought. But assuming that they had some utility to clear out those ADSs, and my disc is definitely going to hurt the side of 303.
There's actually a Nook.
Two grenades.
Yeah, a Nook that got DC'd for the side of 303. Instantly, PC said no rehost. I'm curious as to why that one was, because I think like usually the rules are that if like no shots, nobody takes any damage, you can go for the rehost, but it was just on the start of the round. So maybe they want to play this through. Maybe they're confident enough in their Kafe play that they can play a man down and still take the round win. Track going to be on that upside down rappel, looking for that player on Pixel, just keeping them checked. I do like this play. He's had a phenomenal game on Consulate. Let's see if he can do the same here. That's actually a dangerous angle to hold too if you're going to peek into Track there. Sheep on the other side of the map makes it even 4-on-4. Nebula going down. That's no more Wamai. Smoke going to block off Track from getting any more space inside Christmas. Track going to still find the pick onto the smoke. Makes it a 3v4. This is just a brilliant play right now from 303. Absolutely not holding back to this team. It's traded by Jig to make it an even 3-on-3. That is the ace going down. So no more hard breach right there. So Track going to go down to take out Jig. Senpai trades it out. There's just back and forth from either team. Shiba with a double kill at the moment. It's just down to the Ash and the Jaeger. The Jaeger does have a strong position to block off. Can see through the desk and is actually going to take out Shiba. An excellent play from Nasa. It's already starting off way better than Consulate.
Yeah, I mean, starting off, we're gonna have to see a second bomb site now because they won. So we can't go back to top floor. But with that being said, finally a round on the board for Ren. They're not going to see a 14-0. A beautiful round from Senpai, who, not to throw the shade, but I believe already has one more kill than he did all of last game. So good start from him, also clutching up a 1v1 and giving his team that round advantage. I will say, though, a bit worrying for the fact of they were a man down and it came that close. Like, that's still a little worrying that you were kind of giving up man advantage in free picks with no refrags, and now it's a 5v5. So a good round, right? Awesome. They got it. But we're getting the, did you know that this is the first defensive round Ren has won? I assume that means today. I would really hope that does not mean of all time in the last 2 weeks of SCS. But finally, their first defensive round win comes in map number 2.
I really hope that's not the first defensive round that they've won in the past 2 weeks. I'm really hoping, but 11 seconds till the prep phase is over, and you took the words right out of my mouth. If you didn't say it, I was gonna bring it up. I mean, a 4-on-5 coming down to a 1v1 that close is a little bit worrisome if you are Ren, but either way, still one more round win than you had on Consulate, so that might bring a little bit more confidence right back into it. It's going to be a full attack from the northwest side of the building. Probably going to set up to clear 3rd floor and work their way down. But I'm curious if Track's going to hop on that window once again and look to find a separate angle to pick off these defenders from.
Yeah, I mean, we did see some great shots come out from Track and, of course, Sheba that were pretty much the lifelines to try and give it back. We are seeing the 2nd floor hold this reading and dining, and as you can see, you play it with roamers on the top floor to waste time. That is the perk. That is why people love this bomb site so much, because it's almost like you try to waste the same amount of time you did on Cocktail, but then you just fall back and it's like, oh, there's a whole other site and floor we have to take control of. And I think it's why so many teams love the reading and middle floor bomb sites, because they just bring that extra level of delay and slowdown.
You're really looking at 303 to start the pace of this map, set the tempo on from the attackers side of this. You don't want the defenders to take control of this, because that's not what you want when you're attacking the 2nd floor. That's a huge C4. Look at all that damage done to PZ and Silver. Shiba's still going to come out with a pick onto Dox, but it's traded instantly from Senpai onto Vacacious. And it's a huge pick as well, taking out the lifeline. Not going to have those stuns or the nades from her utility. But the smoke going down on Dox, that's going to leave so much open for 303 to take advantage of. Silver going to take out Nebula, make the man advantage to the side of 303. Instantly evened up from the Evil Eye Smithers. It's just back and forth right now, and it is looking pretty even from the side of Ren.
Yeah, I have to say the picks have worked out, and unfortunately Track is going to walk right into Smithers playing a very aggressive angle in Laundry, which is probably why he didn't expect him to be there. That's something that I will say that Ren has been good about, is their challenging of those vertical angles, whether it's through hatches or vertical angles made from the other team. They challenge them really well, and Smithers has been coming out on top a lot of those engagements, but down to a 2v3 with 30 seconds left, 1 smoke canister remaining. But if there's still an Evil Eye left, but Silver's going to go for the plant, and Senpai is going to try to swing. He's not going to get it, but the Evil Eye once again going to find its 2nd kill in this round, and now it's all down to a 2v1. But the swing comes out, and he's not going to be able to win it. Jake's going to be able to win that round, and here we go. In a matter of 2 rounds, we will see more bomb sites played on Kafe than we saw all of Consulate.
I was wondering who's gonna bring that one up first, you or me. I'm so glad you brought that one up. I mean, we're going to the kitchen right now, and I mean, 3 rounds in a row we get to see 3 different bomb sites. Isn't that a treat for us on the stream right now? And Kafe is actually gonna be floated over by Jake. It's actually, you know, I don't expect him to lock in the Kafe. I expect him to 6-pick off of that. And so he is, because I mean, Kafe is my favorite operator, but just it's not useful. But the captain, that's interesting. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
We're like, huh, okay, you know, Cav doesn't make sense. Cap can, maybe, okay.
Maybe.
And then the Kane, we're like, oh, there we go.
Okay,
right.
yeah,
that makes more sense now.
Especially for kitchen too, because I mean, you can get those K charges in on freezer roam, and you can lock down that hatch. I'm pretty sure that's what I'm talking about, right? The hatch in freezer room.
Yes, they're the hatch and freezer, correct.
Okay, I'm just making sure that I'm not that dull in my Rainbow Six knowledge anymore.
The hatch and freezer is a big deal. Probably going to see a kite on that. You know, and I'm starting to wonder if they targeted ban themselves with the Jaeger, as Senpai has been able to find 3 times more kills than he found on Consulate. But also, I feel like those ADSs might be allowing them to not be able to just get their utility off before dying. That was the one thing we said, even though Vic was dying, not getting his frags because he is a fragger, he was able to get his utility off. But now that there's so much extra burn having to come out, he might be starting to die before he can. And I mean, we saw it, 2 Evil Eyes led to 2 different deaths and arguably winning that round, as one Evil Eye got rid of the sledge, and that was the nades off the board in the vertical play, and the second Evil Eye downed the planter, allowing it to be put into a 2v1 and eventually forcing that second round as well. So the ADS and the Jaeger ban, the more you play Kafe, seems like it detrimentally hurt the team that banned it, as they not only is the ADS seem to be impacting the round, but Senpai on that Jaeger with that carbine rifle is impacting the round tremendously.
You know, I do think the Jaeger is just such a big difference right now for Ren, and especially like you pointed out at last round, Smithers working those the downplay from the vertical angles so well, just like he was doing on Consulate, not slowing down on finding victory in those gunfights. And Nebula's gonna be roaming, not all the way on third floor, on second floor on this Lucy. Gonna spot out a drone, so they do know that there is a player on second floor, and Lucy not gonna get out of there just yet. An instant trade from each team is gonna make it a 4-on-4. Nice pickoff though from Shiba. It's gonna find Senpai. Nebula goes down just after. So that is going to be a 3-on-3. Jig gonna find Silver, make it even. Jig gonna find 2, and it's gonna be traded once again, just not getting there just in time. Shiba not able to find some revenge for his teammate. It's a 2-on-3 with Jig very, very low.
Yeah, I mean, aggressive plays is what I feel like we're seeing come out from this side right now. What is extremely worrying, especially for the fact that it is a 2v3, we're on the downstairs floor, is Sledge has still got to do this vertical play, but because they didn't get the pick on to the Cade, Sledge could bite the dust here from a C4 that we see is still in the pocket of Jig. Regardless, though, the play Jig made was absolutely insane to get the kill onto red and then flick and get the refrag attempt onto the Nomad holding his red stare is by far what was absolutely incredible from Jig. Shiba might not know that he's down there, and honestly, they could just end up walking into a live death trap every so often, but Shiba will find one. That's his third. The low health of Jig could lead this to be in their favor. Shiba holding, but they're both going to come off to try and push the smoke, and one's going to go down. Shiba on the quad. Can he get the ace? But no! Doxy is going to get double smoke kills, and oh, the health being done, and it looks like just going to walk into the fumigation and is going to bite the dust. Beautiful 2Ks from Jig and Doxy are going to lead to a 3-0 and looking like a 7-0 flip on the side of Ren.
And it's actually crazy to think about Ren right now. I mean, Dox on smoke was getting he's being the first taken out of the game, or every single round almost on Consulate. The smoke not finding any value at all. And now you see a double kill right out of those canisters to take your take 3 rounds in a row, make it a 3-0. I mean, I don't want to predict the scoreline of this right now, but right now on this defense, Ren is looking like they could we might see a 7-0 match and a 7-0. Could you imagine getting 7-0 then 7-0ing right back?
That would definitely be that mentality reset you had kind of addressed earlier. I do want to point out, just off of being able to realize it, is they've already gotten 4 times the amount of utility kills than they did last game, or last map, with the 2 Evil Eyes and now the 2 smoke canisters. They are absolutely looking like a completely different team on Kafe, and it has to make you wonder, why did they let Consulate go through? Just based off the way they played it, it looks like that's just not a map they should ever have gone to.
That's definitely something to be looking at. And heading back to the 3rd floor, this is the closest floor that you saw between both of these teams. And last time 303 was a player down, as well as Silver wasn't there to help out at all. He DC'd at the start of it, made it a 4v5. And it went down to a 1v1. But this time around, like you say, it's a totally different Ren than we saw on Consulate. And I want to say that this is feeling a little bit lazy from the side of 303. Maybe not clearing as many angles as they were, not kind of playing as patient as they were, not playing as practiced as they were on Consulate. So maybe Kafe's isn't their bread and butter. Maybe this is where both teams are strong in their own individual ways. Shiba going to be the first to drop through red. He's going to be holding on. Vacacious going to be holding on the outside angle on the rappel. Still looking to take out that player on Pixel first. Maybe finding the evil eye as well as he gets pinged off. Playing very patiently, 303 right now. Looking for a single mistake that Ren can give them. Some shots traded out. Shiba taking a little bit of damage. Just below 75% of the health. Evil eye number 1 going to go down. Doc's looking to help out Nebula here. This might be go time for 303.
Yeah, I mean, I really like this double-sided angle here. Is you might expect him to be peeking the shield, but probably not peeking that double angle. And the C4 is going to come out, and he was in cigars, so I have to assume he threw that through the bottom of Piano. But Nebula, once again, going to find his fate, and he's going to be down behind that Pixel shield that has been taken out. But Jig is going to be able to find a double onto PZ, and that's huge. The smoke going to slow down the push, and the possibility of Nebula trying to scoot his way out of there and maybe get a pickup going to be pretty tough. But there is still one person in Freezer and one playing Bathroom, and Silver looks like he's going to take a lot of health to that smoke canister. And the utility from Ren is just looking so much cleaner right now. And it honestly looks like it's shaping the round. Vic's going to try and sneak his way up here, but someone is just right on the other side, and Nebula does get a pickup.
Does get a pickup. Makes it a 5v3. Silver going to go down after all. Down but not out. Doc's going to take out Vacacious, who was getting very aggressive. Doc's going to find the second one onto Silver. Going to fold down him. Now it's a 1v5. Track going to find one instantly traded. So Jig not going to find that final one. Senpai is going to find a final kill here, as you do see. This passive play going to clean him up. That is a 4-0 lead at the moment for the side of Renascence. That is hard to say. You know, you gotta give Keg benefit of the doubt. That's the hard one. That's the hard one to say. But this is a totally different team. You know, we sound like a broken record saying it, but they look phenomenal on this defense. Whereas, I mean, the side of 303, and I was saying, they just don't look like they're playing the same. They look a little bit more lazy than they were on Consulate. And just because you're attacking the third floor doesn't mean you have to neglect the roams that might be on the second and first from below. Because as you see from Jig, he found a lot of value from that roam on the second floor, finding 2 opening kills on the attackers. Just slowed them down, stopped them in their tracks, a C4 and a rifle kill. That's just as a big mistake on 303's side.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I'm happy it's coming out, but I really want it to be competitive, and this just looks like we're going into the reverse 7-0 that we saw earlier. Obviously, a 4-2 split is not uncommon on this map, so 303 could very well get 2 rounds, and we're right back where we might have been anyways. It just looked really hot-handed at the beginning, but it just seems like Ren is just getting further and further into their groove as we go in Kafe. The first time they played top floor, we talked about it. It came down to a 1v1, but it started off as a 4v5 due to a disconnect. But on that one, it was almost a flawless. So when you put into retrospect that it just looks like they're getting more and more into their groove, they're fine-tuning their play style, it just makes you wonder, what the hell happened on Consulate?
Exactly. And like you were saying, why would you pick Consulate or let it go through if that's how you're going to play on it? And it feels like, I mean, like you said, it's like Kafe is not a stranger to 4-2 splits and switching sides, but I mean, 303, this might be a little bit dangerous of a pick for you to put through as well. So both teams may be having a little bit of, I mean, maybe they just didn't think it all the way through in the map vetoes, but here we are now. We're playing, and it's a 4-0 lead for Renascence. And already the first to drop into red is going to be PZ on that sledge. He's going to break on through. They're looking to break this. He's got Vacacious with him. There's a player, 2 players on the third floor playing over towards bar side, but they're playing very passive, and they're waiting for the side of 303 to push into them. They're not taking too many aggressive angles, which is good to see from them. They're playing their own game. They're forcing them into a Jig with another C4 to open this up. That's an initial pick from Jig once again to make it a 5v4.
Yeah, that is going to hurt on the side of 303, and the guns aren't there. You see Shiba is alive and well as he was on map number 1, but Track not being able to find the success he was last game, along with the fact that you couple that with PZ and Vic both being on donuts as of right now. Vic being the highest rated player that we saw from week 1 from 303. I mean, that's gotta hurt on the side of that team. Like, your star player not being able to wake up, and Nebula's going to find one, but Shiba is still alive and swinging. He's going to be able to find the down onto the smoke. He's just kind of staring at him. He's just neglecting him, but the ADS, why aren't you clearing that?
Very difficult right now from 303, not even bothering with Docs right now. He's going to leave him down. Finally, PZ going to finish him up. And another thing is Silver is 1-4 right now. He only had 1 death last round. PZ does even end up with a 3-3, but a lot of players who were showing up on Consulate just are so silent at the moment, and it's causing 303 to just lose out on rounds that they shouldn't be. And now it's a 3-on-3. It's the most even it has been since round 1 when they were a player down. Shiba is having an absolute blast right now on Kafe. 8-4. Track gonna look to drop the diffuser. It's gonna be an instant trade from Shiba and PZ. Track gonna drop the diffuser and get it successfully down. Smithers, the last one up. We might be seeing the first one for 303. Smithers on to that Maestro. Be slow playing it through the pillar room. He does get picked up by Shiba, and there you have it. 303 with their first round in round 5. And you were saying, not a stranger to 4-2 splits on Kafe, so this might be a wrapping up to that.
Yeah, I mean, 303 came alive a little bit there. As soon as I started talking about PZ not being awake, as Track not hitting his shots, they both got their frags respectively on that round. Shiba doing Shiba things. And I think that was my whole point. You don't need an outstanding fragger. It always helps. Look at, last week when 303 played in control, arguably in control, really only won map 1 because Bone was absolutely off the crack on that one. I mean, 18-7, I believe his scoreline was. But you need everyone to contribute. That at the end of the day, that's got to happen, whether it's with utility or kills. And with the Jaeger being left in play, I don't feel like some of the players are getting that use of utility, and I felt like it was really hurting. But PZ coming alive, being able to open up vertical and finding, I believe, 3 frags that round, as I could have sworn he was on a donut before that game, or before that round. I mean, that is the difference between this team bringing this back starting now, or the possibility of Ren going up 5-1. We'll have to see, but we are going to see them not beat their head into the wall for the first time. They are not going to go back to the same site after failing it. So they had an opportunity to, and they said, you know what? That didn't work for us last map. We're going to go back down to downstairs, and I applaud that thought process. The community vote horribly in favor of 303. I wonder when that vote came out, because I would assume some people might want to change their tune.
I mean, anything can happen in Rainbow Six right now. 4 rounds is a lot, but it just takes one little switch in your team to bring it on back. 303 going to be back on the attack. We're going to clear out 3rd floor first. They got to attack this kitchen. They got to break through 1 by 1 each floor. One thing I really want to say is that Vacacious, we were talking about last game on Consulate. He was finding so much value with that lifeline. And like you said, the Jaeger pick this time, just denying that utility from it this go around. Vacacious drone clearing onto Senpai. It's going to destroy the drone, but they know he's on that 3rd floor. I don't think they spotted the 2nd player. I think the 2nd player actually got out before being spotted by those drones. Nebula is going to be back down on the 1st floor on this Melusi, but still looking to be a little bit aggressive too. Not taking some passive angles on this, so it might be a little bit cheeky to see where they set up this Melusi.
Yeah, I have to say, Track just slightly not prepared, and he could have gotten the opening frag onto one of the roamers of Senpai, who has been playing extremely well this map, especially coming from last map where he looked like he was kind of struggling to find any sort of uh, kills. But oh no, where's the drones? And it looks like they will be able to drone out the Jaeger, and they will be able to find Senpai as he's going to go down. But here comes the slow flank up red. We see him peeking up, and is he going to be able to find an opener yet again? He is not, as Silver is ready and prepared for that. This looks like the much more clean and smooth roam clear and droning and guns that we saw from that 7-0 on Consulate coming alive. And already they are up 5-3 with a minute left. So time slowing down a little bit here, but they're opening up all these angles, and they have already opened up Freezer Hatch.
To 5-on-3, and a lot of the times 303 have been finding a lot of deaths through the utility, and like you said, this time around they got the guns. As Shiba gonna rip off Nebula, an instant trade from Smithers onto Vacacious, makes it a 4v2. Smithers gonna be taking a little bit of damage from above, but the vertical play is not gonna find the successful kill. It's finally gonna be taken on down. Diffuser gonna be planted. Track gonna find a pick, and Shiba gonna find a pick. That is round 6. Going to 303, a 4-2 split going into the half, and I mean, I wanted it to be a little bit more competitive. We're getting the competition showing up now. 303's back on the defense. What do you think about this, Wet Nude?
I mean, this is just, I said it. I said a 4-2 would be completely fine. That's a good reset if you're down 4 rounds, excuse me. A good reset would be, let's just get it 4-2, switch sides. And that is exactly what 303 did. And they're looking more and more smooth now. We're seeing that Consulate roam clear we saw in just previous map that allowed them to win 7-0. And now it's time to see what they can do on the defense. Of course, we only got to see one defensive round from them last map. Now, by default, we're going to be able to see at least 5 if they want to win this in regular time. And that was just a really good reset from them. I felt like they switched up. They finally started to wake up a little bit. But Shiba has been on absolute tear. As you can see, 12-4, and he is just, the man can't miss right now. And if you can get him in a gunfight, I was going to point it out, they knew where Nebula was, and they were using that 2.0 yellow ping, and I'm almost positive they were pinging it. Shiba swung it with all the info he needed, and that's why Nebula was pretty much just with his hands in the air after he died going, there was no way to win that, getting pre-fired off your own angle.
I mean, one thing we didn't get to see a whole lot on Consulate is the defense from the side of 303. I mean, they only got 1 round to do it, and they were really just running around in the jungle gym like a bunch of kindergartens having a blast. And this time around, 4-2 split, we're gonna have to see a lot more defense out of this 303 team if they want to take the win out here. As we are going to see a gridlock come out from Smithers for the first time in this matchup, and a Goyo over on Vacacious. Haven't seen those two operators. How do you feel those are they going to match up against each other?
I think it's gonna be interesting, to say the least. The gridlock is a bit different. I wonder, well, no, because they brought Neb, so they have 4 smokes, so that's definitely going to be interesting. But I'm curious how they take this. This is something smart we're seeing from Jig. Looks like he's going to prepare himself on that white window to cut off the retreat from Pixel. And a very slow start to this round, as it's already a minute off the clock and no one's even entered the building. Senpai looking like he's just fake dropping, but no, he's going to go ahead and drop this time. And finally, first person in the building at a minute 45.
And they are actually getting right up close and personal too. Jig might be set up for that smart play. Doesn't actually commit to the white window just now. He's going to rotate all the way through to try to take pillar rooms from behind. We do see the setup there from Senpai getting on through. Might put some pressure onto Pixel, but he just wants to break his way in. Jig, he's going to be the opening man on the side of Ren. He's going to take out Shiba. That's a huge pick considering Shiba's 12-5 right now. He was 12-4 prior to that. They're going to put some pressure onto Pixel. No flank, though, to catch him off that retreat. And you do see the side of Ren taking some pretty aggressive angles now. After that patient play, paying off from Jig. He's going to look for his second. Vacacious, not even ready for the flank. Double kill for Jig in this round. And a 5-on-3.
Yeah, I mean, Jig is the guy that I talked about in their game last week, that when Jig was dying early, the team was struggling, but Jig is alive and he is on one. We talked about Sheba. Let's talk about Jig, 9-5 right now, and he gets the opening 2 picks to give this round right now currently the favor of Renascence, who are going to try and continue this take. But Senpai gonna slap the head off of track, and they know now that the Wamai is stuck. Senpai finds his second, and it's all down to a 5v1. Plant beginning to go down, and the last man in Cocktail. Jig gonna swing in, and he might be able to find the final, and he's not. Senpai actually gonna be able to find the final kill. It's not gonna be a flawless. Maestro manages to find one just for his own pity, but man, Senpai and Jig are absolutely on one this map.
I mean, one thing to really focus on for this Ren team is that when you were pressuring out 303, I mean, the patient play from Jake, I mean, you said it yourself, it was only a minute 45 when you saw a player from Ren touch into the building, and they were just properly clearing out every single angle that they could, making sure that they were forcing 303 on their back foot, forcing out utility that they can before they even have to break into the building. And by the time they had that, Jig found 2 kills on the flank. Perfect positioning from himself. Perfect situation for the side of Ren. And a great follow through for this attacking team, bringing it to a 5-2 scoreline. Ren absolutely coming alive in this second map. And they are looking to close it out on this attack, because that was just a clean attack from this side. Cleaner than they had over on Consulate, where they didn't even get to step foot inside the building, it felt like.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, Jig, I mean, I've said it so many times, but even Jig with his grenade was more use of utility than we saw all of last map on Consulate. I mean, the fact that he primed it, threw it, caught Vic off with it, peeked the other way from the grenade, I mean, it was just a beautiful play from him. And it just seems like, and I if we interview with them, I gotta ask them what was Consulate, because they look smarter, more refined, cleaner, smooth. I mean, there's a million words you could pick to describe them, but it's just such a night and day difference between this and Consulate.
Now bring out your thesaurus and get every single word that rhymes with smooth, or that works with smooth. And that is Ren on Kafe. 303 definitely fighting from the back foot right now. 3 rounds down. You're gonna have to start showing some life right now. Vacacious tagged up early too on that Goyo. They are just playing passively right now. You do have a lurker all the way on the first floor. Jig, this is an important 1v1 right now. I don't necessarily know who that defender is on the all the way on the first floor, but if 303 can take Jig out, Jig actually gets on out of there. He doesn't even want to take it. But if he could have found that kill, that would have been huge for 303.
Yeah, I believe that's Vic playing all the way down there. And I mean, I hate to harp on him as well, but 0-7 right now. I mean, this is just kind of night and day. Dox is going to be able to find, I assume, what was PZ trying to pick an angle, trying to prop up from that shield and maybe get the pick onto Dox, but Dox is having none of it. He shuts down PZ, and once again, man count in favor of Ren. I mean, if you're a team, I would be scared to take this team to Kafe, because they look clean. This is just Siege at its finest, in my opinion, coming out from Ren right now, and they are just clearing out the roamers. They're hitting their checkbox. They're clearing power angles and power positions, and they're barely taking health doing it.
And now it's time to break on through. You're a man up, but you only got a minute left to get onto the site. Senpai getting tagged up a little bit from the canister, from the smoke on the side of 303. That's going to be Track, keeping them patient. Playing inside the bathroom. He's going to peek on up. Nice shots from Track and a shutdown. That's actually Sheba, not Track. Going to take out Dox. A huge trade. to make it a 4-on-4. And both teams almost even. Now Silver is going to chime in with one of his own. Jig going to go on down. Vacacious, he's going to be roaming all the way on the second floor. I think he spotted that player inside Hell. The player did move on through, and he did rotate off of that position. It's going to be a 4-on-3 as Nebula gets tagged up. Now Vacacious going to go down on that flank, makes it an even 3-on-3. Smokes on the side, going to let Nebula go in, maybe put the diffuser down a bit. He's going to start priming that diffuser, but he gets tagged up by the Evil Eye, Shiba, and Silver finding 2 of their own. That's almost going to be an even ace out of both of them, as they both have 2 kills in their own respective sides. You do see Shiba tagging up Smithers. Smithers going to look for the kill, but that is going to time as they protected the bomb site, and that's going to be a 5-3 scoreline right now.
I mean, a beautiful map brought back on the side of 303. I mean, Shiba was in that bathroom, never left that bathroom, and I believe got 3 picks off of that bathroom. I mean, Shiba, the angles that were opened up for him to play it, he knew where he could take his gunfights. I mean, he just played that so well. And unfortunately, the side of Ren just couldn't clear him out. They tried to forego it. And that's when you saw those smoke canisters and what looked like maybe the possibility of them trying to push just in to that long bar, maybe see if they could find a pick on some of those players in freezer or in bathroom, but it didn't pay out. Vic, I mean, 0-8. I mean, that is just an absolute struggle. And I think that might be where we're seeing the difference between Ren and 303. Not just the fact that they're playing better, but you can see on the side of Ren, everyone's putting in their little input. Everyone's helping out. Nebs at least got his 2. Jig and Senpai are on their way to double digits. Smithers docks at 5 apiece. And then it just kind of looks like a brunt of the load is on Shiba. And then PZ and Vic are kind of just trying to find their footing. Silver kind of waking up at the end there on that last round. So I think it's just the fact of that complete contribution from the side of Ren's really helping them take some of these rounds.
If you're looking back on a few rounds, I'm pretty sure PZ found all 3 of those kills in the 1 round. So he has only found really any life in 1 round. I mean, you're literally looking at those mute jammers to really block off some of the pathing for the drones. But other than that, his gun's just been so cold during this defense. Like you said, most of the brunt of the loads on Shiba. Vacacious on the lurking angles. He does swap over to the Melusi this time, so doesn't want to bank on the Goyo anymore. Maybe the swap is going to find something new for this player. You do see the setup, the normal default setup come out from Renascence, and they are going to be looking to slow clear all the slow clear from top down this Kafe building.
Yeah, and this is kind of, I mean, you've seen plenty of teams, they might try to get drones to the top floor and try to just get drones on red and white stairs, so that way you can maybe forego the second floor. But it's also a bit of a risk. If you go for it, you lose a couple drones. That's going to dynamically hurt you when it comes to the late game of that round. So what we see a lot of times, just this top down clear, but it doesn't look like there's going to be any roamers from the side of 303, and it looks like they're going to have a heavy first floor hold. It looks like we're probably going to see a pretty heavy take from VIP, as we see part of freezer is already left open. And the vertical play starting to begin for the side of Ren. And a minute 22, good time. I would say this is a decent roam clear. But now it's going to be time for them to try and clear through that utility and see if they can find that early frag or the initial opening pick that they've been having success with.
With the amount of vertical play in favor of Ren right now, if they get that diffuser down, that's dangerous for 303. The setup coming out from Ren almost is just so perfect, and one wrong move from 303 can cause so much damage and possibly even a domino effect. Senpai gonna be setting up outside of freezer. Gonna look for that first entrance. Docs might find the first initial 1v1. He's gonna back off of that. Doesn't want to take it just yet. And this is soon going to be go time for both of these teams. 35 seconds left. They're going to have to get the diffuser in place to plant soon, or else they might be caught off guard too late. They do drone out the player lurking Shiba. That goes down. He's 14-6 right now. That's a huge pick right now. It's time for the other players to step on up. Senpai going to rotate on through Freezer. Doc's going to be setting up for the pinch. He's going to be going down. That's an excellent pick to even it up from Silver. Doc's going down. 9 seconds left. Diffuser going to be starting from Nebula. And this is going to be important to see Track get on site. He's going to drop the Diffuserifications, gets one of his own. It's traded out. Trank going down. This is huge plays for both teams. PZ going to find one of his own. Diffuser being stuck. That's another round for the defenders. 303 finally coming alive on Kafe.
Yeah, an absolute beautiful retake. You saw just all the guns come alive for 303 right at the end there to be able to stop that initial push into Kitchen to try and get a bit more of that final map control. And it just worked out perfectly. Shiba, unfortunately, it looked like a bit too caught up on the drone and not prepared for the swing from the Ash. Will get picked off early, but a missed drone in sight, I believe, is going to allow Track, I believe, on that castle to be able to pop up, kill that initial planter. And then from there, it's just a level of red or orange as we just saw kill after kill go in the favor of 303, all to the point where it's left down to a 3v1 with no time left and a plant needing to come down. And a beautiful round from 303. And just like that, we're looking at a 4-0, and now we're at a 5-4.
You know, this alibi pick might be smart out of PZ. I mean, if you set them up on different, if you set up your prismas on the windows, you might be catching out some off angles that Renascence might be trying to play. Even if you can surprise them while they're trying to set up for this vertical play, that could be some important information in favor of 303. So I don't mind this pick from PC on the alibi, even though alibi, you know, isn't a go-to operator to pick lately, but this might be a great flex and maybe a comfort pick from PZ.
And it very well could be, might also be bringing it for that shield, as there are 4 shields total on this take, but also alibi. I mean, she can help make rotates, and that Storm, that SMG is so deadly. It's arguably one of my favorite defensive weapons. The only reason you just don't see her get picked more is because the utility just sometimes, or the gadget on her just sometimes doesn't feel like it's worth bringing over something else. With that being said, though, her having a shield does sometimes allow her to be played. And I think it's going to be very interesting. I think giving that gun to PZ, who we know can frag out, might be able to get some extremely good kills, as you have the angled grip, the high fire rate, and it is literally a laser beam from death.
Laser beam of death is definitely one word to put it on. Another slow pay from Renascence to kind of pick this up and set up their attack. And this is what I was thinking right from Senpai. He's setting up for an off angle on the rappel, looking to break and take window control of, I'm pretty sure that was a dining room. They are going to be setting up and clearing out the 3rd floor. There is some contention from the side of 303 that might take them by surprise if Renascence isn't careful. So they have to be careful on where they're peeking and how they clear out these zones, because 303 might be able to catch them off guard. You do see a player kind of zoning them off. The Goyo, he is going to set some fire off and block off bar room. Nebula going to find the pick onto PC. The alibi not going to have any more effect on this round. Smithers probably going to zone out this player and check him off. He's going to actually not catch them, but he does spot some players in the site. That's Jay getting an important pick onto Silver. And they have that vertical play now. It's a 5-on-3. This might get dangerous for 303.
Yeah, I mean, we're coming down to a minute left, a 3v5 and a C4 taken off the board on the likes of the Goyo, and this is match point for them. If they can get this round, that is going to put the weight and pressure onto 303 that you can't make any more mistakes. You got to be perfect from here on out if you want to go to OT with us. And they're looking really good. Doc's the only one that's taken any real health, but he's still above 75. Smoke canisters on board, and that might be the biggest issue with coming down on 30 seconds. A little bit of damage going to come onto the side of Nebula, but they do have those vertical angles, and it's going to be interesting to see where they play. The Mute's going to swing out, though, and he's going to be able to find Ash, and that's going to be a huge pick. And now we're down to a 3v4. This is not over just yet, but the smoke canisters aren't coming out, and that's going to give away a free plant. Jaeger dealing with someone above, going to swing out, take the death to Jig, but Jig quickly refragged. Now it's a 3v2 in post plant with vertical play.
And the smoke not stopping the plant of the diffuser. It's down 32 seconds to get on that and stop that. Doc's going to get a big kill into Trank, makes it a 3-on-1. He's going to be hit by the air jab, gives away his position. Smithers going to close it out. Like you said, 303 now have to play perfect. It's match point for Renascence. They're looking to make it a 1-1 stance in this Friday night game.
Here we go now, right? The pressure is on. Not only are you worried because you're on match point, but you're probably going to go to the top floor next. You're not going to risk that same site, and you are 1-for-1 on this site. If they win this, though, they get the opportunity to go downstairs, which I believe they are 100% on. So there's a possibility here for OT, and it'll be interesting to see if we can get there. But as of right now, a complete switch around. We're seeing Ren on the match point after a devastating 7-0, and you got to wonder, did 303 come into this a bit too hot-headed?
They might have, they might have bit off a little bit more than they chew. I mean, you take it all the way back to round 1 when you had that DC from Silver. They said they don't want the rehost. If you get that rehost, it might be a totally different game right now. Might not have lost out on that first round, might not have started off on the wrong foot. But if you're Renascence, you take those. You take those and you run with it. And that's what they're doing right now. You're on match point, looking for a 303. Like you said, if they get to go to basement, might be able to force out that overtime. But now they have to stop the attack on third floor. And last time they were on third floor, they did find the victory. But it's even 50-50 from the side of 303 when they're defending third floor. They the last time, they went down a few players early. They were able to sit back, kind of bunker down, and evenly trade out, get some efficient utility down, and stop the attack. But Renascence, they might have made the calculations, a little bit of a fix, talked it over, and this could be a totally different attack.
Yeah, we're seeing great gameplay come out from both teams, and could be all of it all over, as this could be the one round, and they've already figured out where Vic is, so Jig might attempt to try and take this, but he is self-droning, which I think is kind of a 50-50 thing. I think it could lead very badly because obviously drone information is never that long. Drone, you can generally count on the information of what a drone gives you for about maybe 5 seconds at its peak. So self-droning yourself is not really going to give you the information as someone pushing behind it. But with that being said, we're coming down on 2 minutes. They're already getting that red wall open as they know nothing is on it, so they don't need to wait. And we are going to see what looks like to be this typical pixel clear over. And it's going to be interesting, but they already know where Vic is. He's going to be able to spot out the drone, so hopefully he moves away from that yellow ping, but he is being hunted by Senpai.
Senpai on the prowl. Looking to work alongside the drones to clear him out. They know the player is in dining room. Might be taking that off angle, getting that excellent timing on him. Does find the pick. Vacacious going down. The first one out, 5-4. Great start from Ren. They might have to follow up on this right now. They can't leave this momentum to draw out because 303, they were in the same position last time. And it didn't matter. Nice smoke gonna block off the rotation from Nebula. He has to back up, and a big pick from Silver onto Jig. Evens it up onto a 4-on-4. And having that sledge out, having that roamer gone, alleviates a lot of pressure on your back line. Shiba gonna be playing it patiently. PZ taking a lot of damage from that lifeline. But he's still going to be alive. He's still holding on to bathrooms. And he has a great angle onto these players if they break onto the site through the wall. Track going to find a little bit of damage. Still playing a little bit patient, though. Still just waiting in on these players. You do see the first one go out. Does throw some shots out, but not going to land any. Both teams just waiting on a mistake. And Track, he's going to swing, not find anything. A 4-on-3. But Nebula dropped and traded. Senpai going to help him out. Goes down. It's 2-on-3. As Nebula isn't up just yet, just down but not out. Silver tagged up a lot. This could spell danger. They do pick up that fourth one. Looking to close it. 13 seconds left. Diffuser going to be dropped by Nebula. Let's see if they get the successful plant. They don't. Silver going to get him. It's only 6 seconds left. Shiba going to find Senpai. Smithers has to lock it down. He's going to get the pick successfully. Shiba clutches out in round 11, and 303 stay alive.
Oh my God, what a clutch from Shiba. I was going to say it. He was still on the board. The round is not over as long as Shiba or Senpai is on the board, but he gets that opening one onto Senpai, swings around. He's prone or he's crouching, so you won't be able to see him until he's out around the bar. They miss the shots onto him, and he's able to clutch up fantastically. And 303 get away with murder, literally away with murder. In no shape or form should they have ever lost that one out. But Shiba is just putting 303 on his back. And I believe that puts him up to 18 frags. So he's looking to maybe drop a crisp 20 bomb. And I think he will, and it could lead to OT.
Well, you said it yourself. You're going now to first floor kitchen. Last time they were on first floor kitchen, they bunkered down. They didn't have a single player roaming. You saw the ultimate vertical play from Renascence. They were set up, but they just couldn't follow through with it. They had the pinch coming through. They got the opening pick, but then it was just nonstop 303 in the trades. I think when it comes down to it, if you're going to wait to the last second and it's going to come down to the gunplay, 303 have the prime advantage in it. And they definitely will take a win if you let it to that. But if you're Renascence, you got to be a little bit quicker on the roaming clear right now when you're attacking this first floor. And you have to set up and initiate your attack a little bit faster than you did last round. Because if you don't leave enough comfort space out there, 303 has the better gun skill to take the trades.
Yeah, I think it's really tough because the 20-second meta has been such a dictating meta for such a long time, but you have to figure out there's nothing wrong with leaving it to the last 20 seconds, but you either need to win those crucial gunfights or you need to give yourself a little bit more time, so if the initial planter goes down, you have time to regain that diffuser and go for it a second time. And I think it's been the big issue with Ren is they're leaving it all down to the wire, and it's obvious that when that first planter initially goes down, they are struggling to get back that diffuser in time to try and get another plant down. And of course, as you know, even in a 2v2, it's technically a 2v1 when you're forced to stick plant, because obviously one of those guns cannot give any help because he is busy clicking those numbers and trying to get that bomb diffused and down. So, and I think that's really hurting. So here we go, though. Ren already have second floor control, and it actually looks like they're starting vertical even sooner than they did last time. You're seeing a bit of smart vertical play there as he was sitting on the table. If you don't know, you can sit on that table and make vertical holes. You can swing that sledgehammer pretty far away from your body, and then you can also sit on those marble, but I don't think there is 1C4, so...
Oh, Vacacious with 2! Absolutely shutting down this attack. That's diffuser down as well, and you have the setup from above with Jig. He's gonna prime that grenade, but not gonna find a kill with it. PZ very low. Senpai recovers the diffuser. He's gonna find another swing onto it. PZ shuts him down, even with low health. 303 look to force overtime. Smithers and Jig, the only two left to clutch it up. I mean, if you're counting on Jig, you definitely can't count this player out. Diffuser is down, so they're gonna have to play into the hands of 303. But this round is, I mean, it's exactly what I expected from them. I mean, going back to the first floor, it's their best site to hold. You see PZ hops up again. He finds another one that's Vacacious, actually, with a triple kill. And he is going to just block off this attack. Jig's the last one standing. He has to clutch up a 1v5 if he wants to shut him down right now. But 303, 1 kill away from forcing OT, and 20 seconds left for Jig to make the magic happen.
I mean, this is exactly what I said. For them to be able to go back to this bomb site that they are 100% on. And this is the Vic I've been waiting for. I've harped on him for his kills, his play. He was 0-8 at one point. He's back up to 6-10. But a crucial 3-piece gets them pretty much definitively that round. And he is arguably the reason they're going to be able to go into OT. And ladies and gentlemen, OT is where we're going to go. Unlimited overtime. We could see another 24 rounder. And honestly, it's kind of how it feels with these teams going back and forth with each other. And, you know, if Ren don't end up coming out on top, you know they're going to be kicking themselves in the foot for giving up that crucial 3v1 clutch.
I mean, if you're looking at it right now, I mean, I'm new to the SCS right now. It's week 2, but you're telling me that Ren 24 rounds in an unlimited overtime. That's something to look at. That's something that shows that they have the stamina to keep going. 303, do they have that stamina to keep the fire built on inside of them when they didn't even have the fire lit at the start? I mean, now you're heating up a little bit, but you're going back to Ren on defense, where they looked phenomenal. And 303, they struggled into breaking through this defense into the last 2 rounds of their attack. So this, it might be a really good comeback from 303 right now, but you're putting Ren in such a comfortable position that they were at the start. They can talk it over. They can fix those mistakes from those 2 rounds that they lost. And Ren might be dangerous right now in overtime.
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to be interesting. You hit the nail on the head. Ren looked absolutely unstoppable for the first 4 rounds of defense, but which 303 is going to show up? Is it going to be the first 4 rounds of their defense or the last 2? Because the last 2 rounds for 303 going on the attacking side were absolutely one-sided beatings. So I'm curious to see which 303 is going to show up, and that could be what decides this round. If 303 that we saw in the first 4 shows up, then Ren could give themselves the opportunity to put this onto match point, but we won't know until we see it. We are going to start seeing this red wall, however, getting opened up, and Mazeppa is going to claim Vic's drone there. What I'm curious to see if Vic can bring some of that success he saw on defense onto this attacking half, as I think, once again, that'll also bring a whole new aspect to 303's attack if he can.
One thing to even watch out for is Vic and Track on these angles, on these windows repelled up. They can force out a lot of pressure from these defenders and make them even rotate into the hands of the rest of their team. Track, I don't know if he knows if there's a player right to his left, but he's going to flash him on out, so it's giving into that. I do assume that they are aware of this player playing inside a Christmas room. Vacacious and Shiba might look to pinch this player out, but Shiba, he has to be careful right now. He's going to watch out. The Wamon drone going to catch 1 flash, but he's going to get the other one tossed into Pixel. He's going to destroy the shield as well, force the player to rotate off, but he's sticking on the bench, so might be a good call from Ren. They might be able to hold a crossfire on these players and kind of just chip them on like sheep into the sheep pouring through the chokes. Nebula going to take a lot of damage. Track will be the first one going down. No trade on board as Nebula so low in bathrooms, barely staying alive, but he is getting out alive.
Yeah, I mean, 1 shot, and to be able to win that engagement onto the, I believe, the white window repelled player of Track is going to be huge. Shiba going to take a lot more damage as well. So the health well in favor of the side of Ren, and it looks like they're able to really throw this team off. Silver here using his utility very well, and Jig actually, I don't know from where, is going to take a lot of damage. Going to attempt to use that C4, but it's not going to work. And now he doesn't have one to play with from beneath. PZ going to ignore him for now as the C4 is gone, and they're going to attempt to continue this push forward. 25 seconds remaining, though.
They are setting up the attack. Senpai going to go for a peek on through. Looks to maybe set an aggressive flank on these players who are setting up to use their utility, but Senpai not finding anything just yet. He's actually going to find the death as he gets sent to the nether realm. 2 players gonna be traded off. Jig and Smithers finding 1, Smithers finding 2. Dog's gonna finish up on Silver. Defenders just pop off and come alive to shut down this attack that was actually looking very good for 303, but biding their time was Ren as they just waited it out and they just forced these uncomfortable angles of 303, and they just fed on through to their LMGs, to their rifles, as that's 7-6 scoreline right now in overtime.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree. The utility clear, I think, was much more precise and smart on the side of 303, as we saw a lot of times that the Ash of Senpai would kind of try to shoot her her device in there, but it would get caught because they didn't burn enough of the ADSs or whatnot. But when it just came down to it, the guns were just there. And when it came down to a flush of sight, they were prepared. Also, the amount of damage they did to them before that take even started was also extremely helpful. As you know, the less bullets you need to kill someone, the more likely you are to win the gunfight. With that being said, going to start on this 100% bottom floor hold. And why wouldn't you? You need the win. You need the round. Why not go to the same site where you just flawless to try and get yourselves back into this 7-7?
Exactly. I mean, there's a pretty prime example on what 303 can bring to this Kafe map is this first floor hold. Still 100% victorious on it and doing a great job and not getting caught out on the roams. They don't even send a single player to roam out. They just bunker down on this first floor, wait it out, take those off angles, take those power positions. I mean, Vicacious, last time, triple kill in a bakery, shuts down the attack on the first entrance. So they weren't even able to break through the first line of defense, Ren, last time they were attacking this first floor. I mean, the prior round to that, when they were attacking first floor kitchen, they all set up to take vertical angles. Second time around, it was a lot less even as they tried to feed through that first choke. It was Vicacious shutting it down. Is he going to be able to do the same thing this time? Or is it going to be Ren bring a different angle to this attack, a different stance into it, a different strategy? They're going to have to bring out something special, something magical if they want to shut down 303 on this defense.
Yeah, I think a lot of it came down to when the push from their freezer side the first time they attacked that bottom floor was extremely clean. They just honestly lost the gunfights in sight itself. And I think they thought, let's try and switch it up. Let's try and go for a bakery attack. But Vic was just right there, guns waning. So I wonder which side they attempt to go from it at this time around. If you attempt to go back for freezer, which worked, you cleared Chiba and try and just make the actual site execute itself a little bit more clean, or do you try and deal with Vic yet again in this bakery hold?
Easy is going to be set up, maybe taking the first initial 1v1. He's going to detonate his C4 up top. Not going to find anything. Maybe a little bit of a spook onto Ren, but it's not what you want your C4s to be used for. You do see Doc setting up for that vertical play inside train room. Does have a player with him, but not finding anything, not being given anything to bite is 303. They're all playing perfectly, not giving the vertical play anything to work with. You do see a little bit of a take from one of the players, but not gonna pressure out any shots. So it's an even 5-on-5 still, just biding their time.
Yeah, I mean, we're down to 50 seconds, and they really haven't started to begin to attack either the front or the back side of this map. We're not seeing them attempt to go to either, and it looks like, I have a feeling we're going to see a pretty devilish freezer drop coming out here in just a second. But with 30 seconds coming down to it, we are running out of time. Neb's going to take a lot of health in his initial drop, and they are going to be able to find the first pick onto the castle, and that's going to be huge. Senpai going to be able to find the opening pick, and the diffuser is down. That's a 5v4. Smithers finds another one, traded back by Silvers, but Senpai finds one of his own. Vic getting a trade himself. All down in a 3v2. You have the two highlight players. Vic finds one. Can he find another? And he isn't.
Oh!
They count each other.
So it's down to a 1v1. Jig finds the pick on Shiba. Renaissance win round 14. That's a GG. And we go 1-1 on the night. I thought it was going to be 303 pulling it out. But 303 got taken down on the first floor kitchen. A great play from Ren as they just bounced back from it all. I mean, that last time we saw first floor, it looked like it was all 303, but Renascence, they just shut it down. That opening pick from, I think, from Senpai, that was huge. Able to get the diffuser down, that was just nuts. And I mean, Keg, you're back. What did you think of that?
Oh man, call Renaissance Harry Houdini because they were full of magic tricks that last map. I really thought they were just gonna blow out again, but no, it seems like their jerry cans were full of gasoline this time and they drove off the cliff Thelma and Louise style and somehow managed to survive. They brought it back. Even though we did see the overtime, sure. But even then, after everything, they had the dominance the entire time. Now we do have those interviews coming up, and I'm curious to see which kind of players that we get from all of them. But really quick, I want to highlight my favorite player in that game, Sheba, 17-8. Yeah, I see you, Wednu. You're already smiling. Oh man, tell me about him.
I mean, he was just absolutely on a heater, and if just some of the rest of 303 could have kind of woken up a little bit, that could have been a completely different ballpark there. We did see Vic wake up a little bit right at the end, but Sheba just had the backpack going, and the 3v1 clutch was just chef's kiss of a clutch by him, and it just didn't seem like he could do no wrong.
You're right. Well, speaking of a chef's kiss and a great player, we have ourselves Silver, the Hibana Master. Hello.
How's it going?
Oh my God, you have my voice. Hello, welcome back. So real quick, let's talk about Consulate really quick because I think you're fresh off the loss. You want to take it off your mind really quick, but we're gonna give you those pins and needles in a second. But when it comes to your hold on Garage as that Hibana, what was going through your mind after just getting kill after kill in that first game?
Not much, to be honest. I was just playing. I don't think when I play. I just kind of go off instinct and whatever I feel like is gonna work out.
Well, I think that's a really good point, and I'm sure we have plenty of other questions about Consulate, but I'm gonna kind of skip stones really quick, hop lily pads over to the next map. You said you don't really think too much. Is that why maybe you didn't perform as well on Kafe or your team?
We were just the attack was a struggle. We were really sloppy. We didn't have the right drones, and we were just letting them C4 walk all over us. No one was on the right angles at the right times. It was really poor.
Yeah, Jig was able to do what he wasn't able to on Console and just get all those C4 kills, especially in the beginning. Were you surprised that Ren were able to put themselves on the map so quickly?
When we started out the map in a 4v5, I wasn't really surprised that they won the first round, especially on a Kafe attack.
Well, I mean, that 4v5 was from a knock. I thought they just disappeared completely with their device.
Yeah, the ability hides you from spectators as well. It's really great.
It's the most annoying thing. But Seymour Wet Nude, please ask some questions.
I just want to know, back to that 4v5. What was the reason that you didn't take the rehost?
Honestly, I don't know. I said, yo, we need to call it rehost. My game's bugged, and then someone called, no, we won't rehost. I was like, oh, I guess. So I just left.
Now, we were wondering, and I'm not sure if this is professional to say, so I guess we'll have to talk in the DMs later, but was it because maybe your skin on Knock was not kosher for competitive play? Was it something along those lines? That was our guess.
I have everything on default. The reason I left was because of a bug in the game where my chat opens and I can't close it and I can't play. I can't do anything at all. I can't move or even pick an operator.
That's a lot worse than what we thought. Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I was kind of the same thing. As we just maybe thought you just had a head full of steam. You guys just thought 7-0, we can win a 4v5. Who cares? And that was kind of my thought process, was you guys just had that confidence going into that second map.
We're not that arrogant. Like, it was a 7-0 the first map, but we don't really want to take a chance in a league game.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you're not overly arrogant, but you're confident, and you even brought that confidence into defeat. Now we're just gonna have to wait and see the next time you guys come on through to see if it's going to work out in your favor or if that confidence is going to dwindle a little bit. But Silver, thank you very much. I can't wait to see more of your Hibana plays come out in the future, but looks like we might have our interview number 2 right away.
All right, thanks for having me. It was great.
See you around, man. All right, let's get another one in here. Who do we have? Hold on, I'm looking at the Discord list. We have... Am I blind? Oh, we have Nebula. Hello, Nebula. Hello, the Malusi Master themselves. So, a little curious. A little curious though about the Consulate match. We have plenty of questions for you. We'll try not to, be too harsh on you. But all things considered, we're just wondering what was going through Ren's heads collectively on that matchup.
So we got a little bit of a shock today. Our one of our main starters this morning actually told us that he couldn't get there, so we had to make like an emergency call to our buddy to get in, and that kind of threw us off a lot. We had prepped all week for this match with that exact roster, and making that sub, just like everybody changed it up, and we were like, we're just gonna try and rank star this. Didn't work out, but we moved on to the next map, and we switched some things up and went back to our old stuff.
Fair enough. I mean, maps 1, map 2 were night and day. Oh, and there's your face. Hello.
Hello.
See, it's so bad. You can't have a webcam on here because I will scrutinize your backgrounds.
Oh, my background's beautiful.
I know. I love it. I love it. It's so aesthetically pleasing. Oh, man. But Seymour, what news? You guys have any questions?
From me, basically, like, I mean, you basically hit on the mark, Keg. I was curious about that Consulate match, but on Kafe, it's the second one. I mean, down to that last map. I mean, you're on that 1v3. You got overtime being pushed by 303. You go for that plan. Like, what was it? Was it just a miscommunication in that 1v3? You got caught out by Shiba. I definitely thought you guys had that.
We were kind of just like playing a little bit sloppy on Kafe near the end there. We were tight at first, then we were just like, you know what, we're on attack, we're up. Let's just have some fun, and we just made some dumb plays. Honestly, like we were just having some fun.
I'm gonna ask the elephant in the room question. Why on God's green earth did you guys go garage 5 times in a row?
We were very
stubborn.
We were very surprised by Consulate. We hadn't practiced that like at all really. We kind of just like we had prepared differently, and then when we got Consulate, we were just like, you know what, let's try some default holds, and then we were making other calls like let's try and do an aggressive roam, and just nobody did it because everybody was kind of like lost with it. So Consulate was just not what we expected, and we were thrown off by that.
What map were you expecting?
We were expecting the auto ban caught us off guard a little bit. We totally forgot about that.
That'll get you.
Yeah, we were just kind of expecting like a coastline or something, and then we just like decided last minute with the roster that we had, let's just pick a map that everybody's comfortable with.
Well, maybe not.
Yeah, it didn't turn out the way we expected it. So.
Oh man, Wet Nude, do you have any questions?
No, I mean, I think all of us were just really confused on the Consulate game, but I mean, you pretty much cleared the air. You got a last minute sub.
I was confused with it too, honestly. Like, we weren't playing like we would.
Yeah, and I mean, you cleared the air, last minute sub. Wasn't a map you were maybe expecting. Apparently, maybe not as comfortable default as you were thinking you guys were. And Kafe, you guys bounced back. You've addressed the sloppy play, and overall, you go home with some points, and I think that's massively important. And I think the Kafe game kind of showed that you guys mentally can reset, come back, and push the agenda that you had planned and the play style that you like to play. So just absolutely good job on that reset and coming back strong.
Yeah, we definitely kept our we kept our heads clear. We honestly weren't even tilted on Consulate. We were like, this is kind of expected with the last minute adjustment we had.
Yeah, that's actually like, even with a substitute in too, that's something like even like my team, like when I think my college team, like if we go down like that, I don't have like the full confidence that we might get at each other's throats like that, which is like really bad for a team. But I had to really put some praise on you guys to make that comeback. You know, stay strong, stay 100% committed to it. It's just a new map. You guys took Kafe excellently and showed up great. So like Wet New said, going home with some points, that's good.
Absolutely. But of course, Nebula, the Malusi Master, thank you very much for being on here. It looks like we'll be going to the analyst desks, ripping open your last game, seeing what all was going wrong or going right between both teams. But we'll see you around, man.
Perfect. Thank you.
And goodbye, casters. We'll be heading on over to the analyst desk. Of course, we have one amazing analyst and one kind of subpar one, but he has a cool shirt. So there's that. But of course, Wet New, Seymour, we will be seeing you guys in a little bit for the next set, whenever that will be. And hey, but down below, if you want to follow all of our producers or production people as well, go for it, because they need the Twitter followers. Oh, here we go. Hello, analyst and subpar analyst.
Depending on which one's who.
Oh, we know which one's who. We know
I,
which one's who.
yeah, you do really have a really nice shirt on though today. Yeah, I mean the full game is finished, right? We saw that first that first disaster of a map. I'm gonna be completely honest here for Renascence. Then Kafe went a little bit smoother for them. 8-6 scoreline, still not coming away with full points on that map, but they have to be happy with that one for sure.
Absolutely. We had one really jaw-dropping match that I think we both wanted to highlight really bad. It was round number 4. Way back. It feels like a million years ago, but we saw some amazing plays there. It was where I believe it was Wet News first highlighted that we have seen Ren bring out more utility kills than the entirety of their Consulate match beforehand, which means we actually saw, kills.
We saw a bunch of kills, right? Like their teamwork from rounds 1 to 4, but 4 specifically, absolutely amazing. Like the person going down in Pixel and then the smoke using his smoke canisters, those mustard gas grenades to try and cover up that revive was definitely a highlight for me. Just it seemed like on map 2 they wanted to play for each other just a lot more than they did in map 1, because in map 1, let's face it, there was a lot of like fundamental errors and things like that. But map 2, they really picked up their game, and that was the Renaissance that definitely we wanted to see in today's matchup for sure throughout the whole aspect of it.
I think starting from that opening pick on round 4, where we saw Jig get the opening with a C4, which by the way is super cool. We saw them throw it into the air, take down Shiba right off the rip. That really told me that this was going to be a far different match than what we saw on Consulate. Already, they had some rounds on the board, sure. In fact, they had a really strong start regardless. But this really told me this was the I don't know. I'm sure there's a term for it. This was the final marker that told me Renaissance will probably take this home.
Yeah, and take it home they did, obviously able to get the map win, and playing with a sub as well as a new roster pickup as well, definitely just a difficult situation to be dealt with, especially with the story behind it, having to find the sub basically today. So I give them a lot of props for being able to deal with the adversity and just really putting up a good fight. I think we're giving them a lot more flack from map 1 than we sort of intend to, because it's still a respect sort of thing, and defense and offense definitely just the coordination was not there. But map 2 definitely just teamwork definitely improved, and I think this is a renaissance that we can look forward to throughout the rest of SCS. I know we're only in week 2, so definitely some time to get yourself some results.
Oh yeah, it's like college classes or high school classes. Your first few weeks are sometimes lackluster, but as long as you keep doing the work and you keep practicing, you'll have a good grade by the end of it. That last round we had seen, the match point, that was a huge tide turner as well for 303. Shiba finishing it off with a 3K? Fantastic to see. We thought the game was going to end right there, but no, they kept themselves in for a tiny bit longer. Not winning, but they still showed up they had some muster. Now we do see that round 4 play again. We saw the C4 from Jig. I love that C4 so much.
I mean, just this absolutely insane plays from Jig. I think he ended off the round with like a 3K or something like that. And then we're going to be watching the smoke play as
There's
well.
number 2.
Yeah, right. We're going to be watching that smoke cover off, and that just allowed Nebula to be able to crawl away. You saw Vicacious. He had to stay away from that smoke grenade, and really just the amount of area that you lose because of the denial from Doxy. And Doxy was actually that emergency sub, so really good time, or excuse me, really good sort of support play there to buy your teammates some time. And I think that was the difference maker in the round. Obviously, Jig being the Nitrocell king was helpful as well, though, as for sure.
Well, let's take a step back and talk about Dox G for a minute, because he's a familiar name in this scene of Siege. He is a former Challenger League player, and subbing in a Challenger League player would normally, under most circumstances, be a fantastic move to make. It didn't work well for the first map, and so there was meshing issues, but Kafe was like bread and butter to everybody. It's like Dust 2. Everyone knows how to play it.
I mean, I hate to be like that devil's advocate type guy, but
Ooh.
Consulate has been in the map pool for for like even longer than this version of Cafe. I feel like you kind of know how to play Consulate at this point. I don't want to take
Consulate's
away
a
from your
weird
point.
map.
Right, it is a weird map. Like in theory, right, you take the top floor, go down, but there's just a lot of verticality gameplay, the nitro cell risk as well, and yeah, I think Renascence definitely a very strong map too. For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. I love their map too. I thought that was actually some legitimate Rainbow Six that was sorely missed in the first one, but now I'm hoping maybe come next week or even whenever Renaissance wants to play next or can play next, we can see what the full-fledged team can bring to the table because we've seen them at their worst. And as of right now, at least for me, I've seen them at what could be their best, but they had one sub. Of course, like we said, that was a Challenger League player. But if we can see them at full force, they could be a force to be reckoned with.
Definitely a force to be reckoned with, and not to take anything away from 303 as well. Definitely very strong gameplay today, especially map one. Oh my goodness gracious, that was well, that was a tank slapper for sure. But yeah, both of these teams looking very strong going forward.
You're totally right, Santos. And with that, I think we're going to go to a 15 to 20-minute break. We'll figure out the exact number at some point down the line. But we have Wichita Wolves, so I'm sure everyone's going to love some of their favorite T3 teams going on and duking each other
Oh,
out. But
don't
with
forget
that,
Pride.
ladies and gentlemen, what's up?
Don't forget Pride. Come on
And
now. Come
Pride,
on
and Pride. Yeah, but Wichita Wolves, man. We know what sells. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, 15 to 20 minutes from now, we will all be back and probably going to see a crazy matchup.